Very good evening and a warm welcome to Lords for this huge London derby. It's Middlesex against Surrey. We're getting to the business end of the Vitality Blast, and Middlesex looking to avenge that defeat 9 days ago at the Oval. My name's Dave Fulton. We've got Isabel Westbury alongside me, who's been ever present for these Lords matches for Middlesex. And Izzy, huge game tonight. You've seen every game that Middlesex have played here. What have you made of them so far?
Well, it feels like only a few hours ago that we were walking away from the pitch and a glorious Middlesex victory against Hampshire. It really was a very good team performance, a sort of a below-par score. We thought perhaps going into the innings break, Middlesex making 142 for 6. But my, it was sort of my captain, Stephen Finn, with his 3 for 27, and ably helped by Tom Helm, who he really looked as though, he's almost been progressing with his pace over the course of this blast. But it was the seamers that came out on top. In a low-scoring game, Hampshire bowled out for 1, 2, 3. So I think, from Middlesex perspective, it's more of the same.
Yeah, and we're going to have a look at that Hampshire game in just a second. But just for tonight's opponent, because Middlesex's, I guess, worst performance in this competition so far was the reverse fixture at the Oval, and they'll be pretty keen to make amends here at Lords. They want to make it a fortress, don't they? And we'd be used to seeing 28,000 people in here for this one. Beautiful evening, blue sky, not a cloud in it.
Absolutely, and to think that Middlesex won both of the London derbies last year and they're 1-0 down coming into this one. I mean, I think it would be blasphemous. It wouldn't be allowed really for Surrey to walk away from this season with bragging rights. So I think, yes, more of the same from Middlesex as they did against Hampshire, less so against Surrey. But I think just to G things up, we'll have a look at some of the highlights from the Hampshire match.
Stephen Finn once more excelled with the ball to lead his side to a vital Vitality Blast victory over Hampshire by 20 runs at Lords. Batting first after winning the toss, Max Holden and Stevie Eskenazi made a solid start before the latter exploded into action, twice dispatching Shaheen Afridi into the distance, the country's leading run scorer in this season's T20, continuing his excellent form. Alas, he lost Holden as his partner midway through the fourth over with the score on 33, the batsman on his way for a dozen. The remainder of the power play brought no boundaries, Middlesex ending it on 43 for 1. Indeed, this 4 by Dan Lincoln was the only one in the space of 8 overs. Eskenazi became a little stuck before departing at the hands of Mason Crane, gone for 33, as his side stuttered to a score of 68 for 2 at the halfway stage of their innings. A rethink regarding what a good total would be had to be done once Lincoln holed out off Crane after making 19. Jack Davies on his Lord's debut tried as best as he could to get the scoreboard ticking over, only to be run out by Ryan Stevenson after making a pleasing 23. Martin Anderson followed for 12, Middlesex entering the last 2 overs of their innings on 121 for 5. A big finish was required and John Simpson helped the cause no end with this strike. But Tom Helm was out for the last ball, the home team having to settle for a final score of 142 for 6, Simpson ending on a very handy 30 from 19 balls. And batting was no easier for Hampshire, who was soon up against it, thanks to Helm, who first had James Vince taken behind, while next ball Sam Northeast fended to Eskenazi at slip. Simpson then produced a bit of magic, a superb leg-side stumping off a Tim Murtagh wide, a very rare occurrence indeed, which left Hampshire on 11 for 3 in the fourth over. Former Middlesex man James Fuller now came to the crease and a couple of boundaries saw his team end the 6 overs of power play on 37 for 3. Fuller, with help from Tom Alsop, began to produce the kind of partnership to frustrate Middlesex. Batting had suddenly become a little easier on this sluggish pitch, and these two took advantage by carrying the total to 66 for 3 at the halfway point of the chase, another 77 required. Middlesex needed a wicket and Murtagh, in his first blast game for 4 years, got it. Fuller plugging his last ball to long on, the bowler ending with figures of 2 for 20, Fuller out for 34. That left the visitors needing 60 from 7 overs and also pulled Miguel Cummins over the rope to make the task that much easier. The game, though, turned Middlesex's way courtesy of some brilliant fielding off his own bowling by Nathan Souter, a glorious grab which had Alsop on his way for 43. With 2 new batsmen in, the total read 100 for 5 with 5 overs remaining. 43 more were wanted, and Finn had Ian Holland take it behind for his 10th wicket of the campaign. And the skipper moved to the top of the wicket-taking charts when Lewis McManus found Souter on the boundary. Hampshire now 7 down and needing 30 of 17 balls. Next ball, and it was another for Finn. Chris Wood holding out to put Middlesex on the verge of a crucial win, their captain ending with 3 for 27. Simpson then celebrated the start of the new football season with some very handy footwork to run out Crane, a wicket which just about confirmed the victory. And indeed it was all over next ball. Finn finishing off a fine night for him with the catch. Middlesex in the end winning with a fair amount of comfort. Hampshire were all out for 123 with 7 balls unused for Middlesex to collect 2 very important points. The margin of victory being 20 runs. They go again on Monday evening at the home of cricket against Surrey.
Well then, a comprehensive win over Hampshire, and we thought it was good cricket weather back on Saturday, but I tell you what, Dave, it's absolutely glorious weather this evening, and the stage is set for what I'm sure will be another glorious Middlesex victory. I think going into the last match, the Hampshire match, it was deemed that Middlesex would need to win 4 out of the 5 matches to be in with the chance of qualifying for the quarterfinals, and I think that remains.
Yes, indeed, and to give it a bit of context as well, a couple of games earlier in the day saw Essex beat Sussex, the Eagles with their first victory. So good news from a Middlesex perspective, that thwarted Sussex's charge. So Essex beating Sussex by 12 runs. Not such good news, though, with Kent beating Hampshire. Hampshire have been the whipping boys in this group. So Kent now top the group. They're on 10 points. Sussex with 9. Surrey, today's opponents, with 8. And Middlesex with 6 from 6 games. So 4 remaining group games. Probably, you've got to win 3 of those, you'd think. To qualify, but there's so many permutations, it's going to be tight, but they won't be thinking too far past this game here tonight.
Well, the toss has been done, Middlesex have won, and for the first time in this tournament so far they've chosen to field, so unusual there. We've got the team sheets in as well, Stevie Eskenazi and Max Holden right at the top. Then we've got Joe Cracknell making his debut for Middlesex in the T20 Blast, will come in at number 3. Jack Davies, Martin Anderson, John Simpson, Tom Helm, Nathan Souter, Steve Finn, Tim Murter and James Harris. So Dan Lincoln and Miguel Cummins out. And one more to add to that, actually, I almost forgot. Luke Holman is in the starting 11, having not initially been in the squad. He went over on his ankle in the warm-up in that Hampshire match, but has recovered sufficiently as well, surprisingly, since the squad was announced yesterday as well. So it looks as though I think we've got a bit of a North Middlesex Cricket Club massive in Holman, Cracknell, I think Souter as well. So good representation from up there, but Middlesex going with a strong starting lineup.
Yeah, good news that Holman's back. He's made a pretty speedy recovery, but we're not far away from the action now, so let's have a look at the Middlesex walk-on VT. We'll be back with you in just a second.
Well, then the teams are making their way onto the Lord's outfield. Surrey batters to the crease. While there's been a little bit of chopping and changing in the Middlesex order, the Surrey team is unchanged since their win over Essex. They've had a couple of back-to-back wins, Middlesex, Essex. Top of the order, we've got Hashim Amla and Will Jacks walking to the crease as we speak. Laurie Evans, Ben Folkes, Rory Burns, Jamie Overton, Jamie Smith, Gus Atkinson, Gareth Batty, captain of course, Dan Moriarty and Reece Topley to round things off. So about to get things underway. It's sort of basking in sunlight here, shadows lengthening as the evening progresses. And it looks to me as though we're going to have Tom Helm to start things up from Middlesex perspective. Nice tight ring field. We've got to slip in. Deep square leg. Third man, the other one down beyond the inner ring. And Helm with his trademark towel flapping beneath him almost is going to kick things off. Oh, they've gone for a quick single straight away, and there's a shot at the stumps. If he hit them, Amla would have gone. He was jogging through almost because he knew that it was all absolutely in vain. Only one stump to aim at, and he was doing it as he was falling backward there. Young Max Holden, but that's an eventful start.
Yeah, it was one of the worst runs I've ever seen from the first ball of the match. Actually, Will Jacks just kind of knocked it off the back foot straight to a diving Max Holden. Perhaps he thought he'd hit it a little bit harder than he had and that it had got past the Middlesex backward point fielder, but Hashim Amla wouldn't have been in the picture. And he rather sauntered because he knew that, if you're going to be out, you might as well be out by 5 yards as opposed to 3. He's never the quickest between the wickets, Amla, but he would have been gone.
Helm again. And this one's cut nicely. That's beyond the dive of Holden. He'll get 4 runs for that straight away. The boundary just a little bit in from the advertising hoarding edge, about 5 or 6 yards or so. And he timed that beautifully. A safer few runs there for Surrey. And Amla, of course, 37 years young. You say he wasn't the best in his prime between the wickets. I'd say that may have slightly regressed since.
Yeah, he might not be the best between the wickets, but he's still a class act with bat in hand, Hashim Amla, all the time in the world. 75 against Kent earlier in this competition, and that was a classy shot.
This one down the leg side. And I wonder if he just got a pad on that or something. There's no signal from the umpire. No one went up.
Yeah, umpire just tapped his right hip, suggesting it might have just clipped his thigh pad, I think. Okay. If that had missed everything, he would have been arms outstretched. So Tom Helm just got to settle into a line and length here.
Yeah, something Helm's been struggling a little bit with over the course of this tournament. A few wides to his name. But once he gets going, he can be really threatening. That's more like it. Bring out a solid forward defence from Hashim Amla. 159 T20s he's played. He's been around 4,407 runs, an average of 31.
Field change already. Out comes a slip. Stevie Eskenazi being moved into mid-wicket. You'll see that towards the back end of an over.
Oh, it's full. And a flash of the bat, outside edge, and it's beaten the man at third man. Sliding round to his right. Murta there trying to get round to it. That's another one whose sea legs have been through a fair bit.
I think the rope's in quite a long way, isn't it, with the development that's going on at the nursery end of the ground. You've got the covers down there as well. So I think that boundary rope, which seems to creep in year on year, is as close as it's ever been. And Murta had no chance.
That's nice and full driven. But doesn't beat Finn at mid-off. Yes, we're playing on the same pitch as we were on Saturday, even though it does look brand spanking new. In fact, you can't even see the footmarks. That's what kind of surprised us. But the boundary rope is definitely a few yards further in than it was when we played on Saturday. I'm pretty sure it was right up against the advertising hoarding over the weekend. So a shorter outfield. Maybe they felt there weren't enough runs scored. They want to add to that total. See a few fireworks at Lord's. 10 off the first over, that helps.
Yeah, good start for Surrey. Could have had a run out, but unscathed off that first ball. And then Amla showing what he's all about with a couple of boundaries. Bit of flashing away outside off stump. Those wrists to good effect. We're going to see Tim Murtagh, who I've seen him bowl a lot here over the years, seems to operate almost exclusively for the nursery end, doesn't he? Use the slope, try and get some away movement.
It's veteran's prerogative. Veteran to veteran, as Amla plays us onto the onside, no run. Well, the last match against Hampshire saw Murtagh drafted in when Holman went down in the warm-up, so he wasn't expecting to play. He was in the squad, and then we saw Murtagh play his first T20 match for Middlesex in 4 years, and he didn't do half badly, as you might expect. 2 for 20 from his 4. Here he is again. This one's down the leg side, turned to fine leg, no run. Yeah, picked up the wickets of Joe Weatherly for a duck. And then Fuller for 34. So some key middle order wickets. Nice and tight as always.
Yeah, we always thought when at the outset of 2020 it was going to be a young man's game, but 76 years between these two doing battle in the middle at the moment, Tim Murtagh and Hashim Amla. And we've seen that experience can count for a lot in this shortest format.
Back over the bowler's head. That's a nice looking shot. Hasn't quite timed it, doesn't matter. Runs away to the boundary. 4 runs, 14 without loss. Stand and deliver, Hashim Amla.
So as you say, it's the same pitch as a couple of days ago. How did it behave then? And these early signs are that it looks a decent track, although Middlesex only managed 142 and defended it fairly comfortably. Some signs that a bit of sun on it might have improved it.
Bit of respect showed that one. Quick single. Holden, again, the man trying to see if he can get the run out. Not this time. 15 for no wicket. Yes, it was a funny pitch because it looked good, and you felt as though the way in which Eskenazi and Holden have started things off for Middlesex over the course of this blast, timing it quite nicely. You felt it was on for a big total, but everyone just seemed to get tied up in the middle. It was spinners of Hampshire who bowled really well in the middle orders. Mason Crane especially, 2 for 20 from his 4. No run to Holden. And Ian Holland, a sort of just slightly slower seam bowler as well. It just seemed no one really got in. And you think that the top score for Middlesex was that 30 not out off by Simpson. And for Hampshire, it was Tom Alsop at the top of the order with 43, and otherwise only one other man making double figures, that and James Fuller. So it was a stop-start wicket, sticky one, difficult to get going. But as you say, the sun's been beating down over the last couple of days. Nice from Holden again, backward point, no run. So 2 overs gone here on this glorious London evening. 15 for no wicket. Surrey, Amla even is on 14, and Jack's there on 1.
Yeah, we've seen time and time again, haven't we, in the blast over the years, but especially in this 2020 campaign, taking the pace off the ball, slow bowlers, a bit of spin. I think it's been tough on groundsmen because they've had Bob Willis Trophy matches, and then these blast games coming thick and fast. Tough to get the preparation that some surfaces need. Just looking at Surrey's economy rates for their bowlers, the top 4, Batty, Jacks, Moriarty and Borthwick, range between 5.75 runs and over and 6.66. 4 leading their economy rankings are all slow bowlers.
All slow bowlers,
so
aren't they?
I think that'll be a feature tonight.
This is something we haven't seen so far, is Finn entering in the power play overs. Here he is, right arm over, slightly wide of the crease. Amla there, I think, anchoring for the wide. He's got it. The umpire signals a delayed reaction. Signals to the scorebox over at Father Time. So this is the first time I think we've seen Finn bowl in the power play, certainly at home. He tends to come in around the 7th, 9th over. And he's done very well there, of course, leading Middlesex in the wicket takers column.
Yeah, I like it though. It's a positive move. It says Middlesex are gunning for wickets.
Oh, big flash there from Amla. Finn gets the better of him, and his follow through, a bit of a stare, possible a few words maybe as well.
From Stephen Finn? Nonsense.
Don't tell me.
He's the nicest fast bowler in world cricket.
I was
You
about
might
to
have offered him a bit of helpful advice about the slope here at Lord's. That would have been the extent of it, I'm sure.
I'm sure I've heard about 10 different men that have been called the nicest men in cricket. They can't all be the nicest men in cricket. Come on. Slower ball, and this one's up over the top of that infield. Runs down to the boundary. Nicely weighted there from Amla. Class batter that he is. And he's picked up 4 for it. 20 for no wicket.
Yeah, quality shot from Hashim Amla. Looks in decent touch, doesn't he? Just thinking of the nicest men in cricket. I think quite a lot of them in the England team at the moment. I think Chris Woakes and Joss Buttler will be right up there. Stephen Finn wouldn't be far behind. They're good fellas as well as very fine players.
Here he is again. This one, again. Amla waits for it well. Beats the infield, but hasn't quite got the timing, and it plugs beyond the clutches of mid-off. Picks up 2 for it. Amla happy to play his shots.
And perhaps, all teams do their homework, don't they? And they would have looked at the scores on this same surface from a couple of days ago, and they might think it's easier to get the runs up top. Go hard in the power play when the field's up, because it's only going to get harder.
Must have hit bat hitting the ground there. There's definitely a sound as it flew through to the keeper. No one really went up. It's one of those you had to wait and watch the reaction before seeing whether a wicket opportunity might be in there. Nice wide and full, a real concerted plan here from Finn to Amla. I think he knows how much he likes those front foot drives. Don't let him play at it. This one's off the back foot. Just beyond holding there at backward point. I think the fielder will just about reach it before it runs down to third man. He does indeed. They come back for 3. Good running here from the Surrey men.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about this plan at the moment, Izzy. I'm not going to lie to you. Stephen Finn's bowling width outside off stump. It does look like it's a plan to Hashim Amla, but the 2 men back on the fence are at deep square and deep mid-wicket. So why would you bowl wide outside off stump when all your offside fielders are up? Surely if you've got your 2 men back on the leg side, you'd want to bowl gun barrel straight.
The poker player too, maybe. Double bluffing. Oh, bit of invention there from Jax, trying to scoop one over his shoulder. In the end, I think he toe-ended it, and nothing happened in the after that. So at the end of 3 overs, Surrey at 25 for no wicket.
So that man on screen there, Hashim Amla, getting Surrey off to a decent start here. Will Jack's starved of strike, just 1 from 4. Amla 23 off 14. So a decent start.
Murtagh continuing from the nursery end. This is thrashed into the onside. Hits it well on the bounce, just the single. Brings Jax on strike, as you say. He's been starved of the strike.
Exciting player, Will Jax. I haven't seen that much of him, but he's rated very highly. At Surrey, he likes to put bat to ball. He's got all the shots, all the improvisation. We saw that little scoop that he tried at the end of the last over. I'd like to see him just start with proper cricket shots.
Jax pulls away and then gives himself room, and this flies into the offside. I don't know how he's managed to do that, but it's 6 over cover point. That's a glorious looking shot.
They're the kind of shots I'm talking about. If you can forget the scoops, he's a strong man, he's got long levers, he's tall, he's powerful, and he just gave himself a little bit of room outside leg stump. Smoked that one over extra cover and straight into the empty stands, which has been a feature, isn't it, of this campaign. Players got to go and fetch the ball back. It's slows things down a bit when it gets lost between the seats.
Again making room for himself, and again playing this into the offside. It's back at a point, 4 runs. 2 deliveries, 10 runs for Will Jackson. Well, I mean, his strike rate tells a tale of itself. 146 in this format. And he may only have a top score of 63, but my goodness, he races out of the blocks.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what Tim Murtagh makes of it all. He's been drafted in for this short form. We're used to seeing him in red ball with 3 slips and a gully and bamboozling batsmen. And now these pertinent pertinent youngsters just backing away outside leg stump and thumping him to all parts. It's a lack of respect.
It's funny though, because Murtaugh's had a sort of tale of two careers in a way, as Murtaugh right arm over, and Jax plays this again, back on a point, and there'll be 4 more, I think. It is indeed, no fielder out there. So we've had a flurry of boundaries across these last 3 deliveries. Jax playing with freedom, invention. Yeah, Murtaugh, I think for Middlesex, I guess we're completely used to him playing with a red ball. But of course, everything he's done for Ireland until they made their test debut last year has been with a white ball. So, okay, you could argue it's just slightly different playing white ball cricket at an international sort of associate level. But he does have some skills. He has experience at this format, certainly. And it's one of those, I think we were chatting about this watching the Australia-England match. Someone like Josh Hazlewood, who you see as a sort of classical red ball bowler, who's just so good at banging in that line and length. Yes, he does have a few tricks up his sleeve, but he's not a sort of change every ball kind of delivery. And sometimes, you know, white ball teams, I reckon, have room for somebody like that.
Well, you've certainly got room for someone like a Josh Hazlewood, but he's bowling nearly 90 miles an hour. Tim Murtaugh's more kind of mid to late 70s.
Jack doesn't quite time as a sharp the non-striker then, but he makes his ground pretty easily. He's fast between the wickets as well.
But I hear what you're saying about his skills. He certainly has those skills. He has that experience with Ireland. He has experience just by virtue of the fact he's played, and looking at his numbers here, he's played 211 list day games. He's played 103 T20s, Tim Murtaugh. So he's not a novice, but it was his first run out for a while in Middlesex colours a couple of days ago. And Middlesex do have an embarrassment of riches in the quick bowling department, and all bases covered, you think, with the spin options as well. So, and I think they wrap him up in cotton wool a little bit because they know what he can contribute in the red ball game. But with the Bob Willis Trophy campaign done, why not put him to good use?
Well, expensive so far, unusually so. As Helm's going to continue from the pavilion end. We saw the Stephen Finn experiment come in for an over. He was hit for 10 runs. And so they've decided to revert to Tom Helm. Well, it's been even share of the spoils so far. Each bowler's been hit for 10 runs per over each. There you go.
Yeah, I can't see. I mean, 200. Even my maths could do that, but you'd think bit of spin. I think that'll be the key. Get out the power play for Middlesex and take the pace off.
Thick inside edge from Jax, trying to carve it into the offside. In the end, down to Souter at backward square.
Right, let's have a look at these plans to Hashim Amla then. 2 men back on the leg side fence. Looks a short boundary down towards the tavern side, but going in the other direction, the rope is in some 15, 20 yards, so it's not a long boundary. But I think with this field, Tom Helm has to be bang on off stump. He can't be any wider.
Here he is again. And this one, a miscued shot there from Amla. Cries of catch it. Helm couldn't get down in time. Really is a lovely, lovely evening. The flag to our left along above the grandstand, the MTC flag fluttering slightly. Nice breeze to a very sunny, hot day.
Yeah, this is a sad thing, isn't it? I think you come to Lords, or I've done a few games from Canterbury. We've had lovely weather in the last week. Just think 28,000 people would have been witnessing this. I hope you're enjoying the stream coverage. I hope to get you back before too long.
Helm, back of the hand, weighted nicely by Amla, but just the single. Rotates that strike. He moves to 25. But then again, at least we've got cricket.
Yes, we've got cricket, and we still want to hear from you as well. Do get your tweets in to us at Middlesex_CCC, or comment on our Facebook page at Middlesex Cricket using the hashtag NightFrankPOTM if you want to vote for your player of the match, Middlesex player of the match, of course. But, keep telling us what you think.
Another back of the hand. Jack's trying to play it into the onside. I think that's the first delivery he's faced from Helm. Amla hogging most of the strike down that end before.
Yeah, he's got good variations, Tom Helm. He's excellent at the death. Got the Yorkers, got that back of the hand slower ball, which of all the variations of slow ball, seems to be the most effective. Ian Harvey, Steve Waugh back in the day, I think was one of the pioneers of it, but Ian Harvey took it to a new level. And just harder to spot than the off cutters and the leg cutters, that one that rolls out the back of the hand, and Helm bowls it nicely.
Orange shoals away from us, and this one, well, he bowls it nicely, but that one, it's a little bit too short. It held up, and Jax has ploughed it over the boundary on the offside. That's a beautiful looking shot, a helicopter kind of shot. And it means that after 5 overs, Surrey is sitting pretty, I feel, on 49 for no wicket.
Yeah, we'll find out what Stephen Finn's made of from a captaincy point of view. You've seen him a few times. What you've made of him, Izzy, but this is where captains earn their corn. Thinking of the one-day international last night when we saw, I thought, a captaincy masterclass from Owen Morgan, who knew when to bowl Jofra Archer and Chris Wokes out in the middle. I thought it was just an exhibition of how to captain.
He reminded me of a conductor, just sort of knowing when to bring in the different instruments in the orchestra. It was a sight to behold, and we always like beating Australia as well. And Stephen Finn is going to come in from the nursery end, and this is a beautiful whip off the legs by Hashim Amla. It was over pitched there from Finn, and that's flown away to the boundary for a 1 bounce 4. It's a 50 partnership up in no time at all. 32 balls. Amla with 23 and Amla 29, Jack's 23. That was gorgeous. And again, it just shows that margin of error in T20 cricket. So small. Finn, what's he going to do in reply? Full again. Yorker length. Amla's dug it out for a single.
I guess traditionally we think of most captains being batsmen, don't we? Think of Owen Morgan. He doesn't have to worry. He doesn't have those twin responsibilities of captaining and having to bowl. So you've got Stephen Finn here, his team getting smacked around the park. He's got to know when to bowl himself. He's got to set the field as well and charge in. There's a lot of things for him to contemplate right now because it's not going too well.
Misfield by Holden there at backward point. Gift Surrey a single.
Going back to Morgan last night, just so much of one-day cricket and 2020 cricket is formulaic. You know, you bowl them at the start, you hold them for the overs at the end, your Archers and your Wokeses, but he just recognised that that wasn't the play last night and he changed it up.
Amla advancing down the track, doesn't get it away. A rare dot ball.
From a Middlesex perspective, I'm sure Owen Morgan, who all of these lads would have played with, for some of them for a number of years, you'd like to think that that's going to rub off on them, that Stephen Finn would have watched Owen Morgan captain for England, probably played under him when he's been captaining here at Middlesex, would have talked over a beer, cricket, till late of an evening. You think he can pick quite a lot up.
Amla gives himself room, scoops this over his left shoulder, 1 bounce 4. Down to a very fine leg. Bit of innovation there. That was a gorgeous shot. Umpire signals the 4. 59 without loss. Amla moves to 34.
And I would imagine it's quite lonely at the moment for Stephen Finn. He hasn't got a home crowd roaring him on. There's not too much advice coming his way from mid-on, mid-off. He's got to do all the thinking himself. And he's got to run in and bowl. He's just pushing fine leg back. He's had enough of Hashim Amla just scooping him over that short fine leg. So up comes mid-wicket. I think that's a good move. You know, you don't mind if a batsman plays a crunching pull shot, but these little flicks, you want to try and prevent them going for 4.
Final delivery is over, a dot ball. So the end of that Stephen Finn over, the end of this power play, the end of the 6th over. Surrey find themselves 59 without loss.
So the obligatory hand sanitizer break. Surrey sitting pretty, 59 without loss. Both batsmen going nicely. Jacks is 24 from 14. Amla 34 of just 22. How is Stephen Finn going to try and stem these runs? Well, he's going to do it through spin. That looks like the familiar figure of Nathan Souter. And he's gone well in this competition, as have many spinners. And I think, is he remind me of what happened Saturday? It was the introduction of the likes of Mason Crane that just put the brakes on that Middlesex innings. So they'll be hoping they can do likewise to Surrey.
Yeah, it was Mason Crane in partnership with Ian Holland in the middle orders that really slowed things up. Nathan Souter hasn't got a partner in crime in the spin department, but he's had a pretty good go of it so far. Beautiful caught and bowled catch as well.
So it's going to be the Australian leggy. He's going to be bowling to Will Jacks. And a play and a miss. So good early signs. Interesting to see what shots Jacks employs. Reverse sweep has been very popular in 2020. Just a single down the ground.
Yeah, it was a lovely return catch he got to dismiss Tom Alsop at the top of the order for 43. Just diving to his right, and it was a very neat tumble. It all just, everything went perfectly. It flowed. It was a key wicket as well.
So good start from Souter. Short to Hashim Amla, who's cutting, and this is running away. It's going up the hill, and it beats the man on the fence. And Amla continues in similar vein. Change of bowler, it makes no difference to the South African. He's on to 38, and Surrey is 64 without loss. Jack Davies out there on the deep point fence. But we only had about 15, 20 yards to go, but it was always beating him. Riposte is what Souter's looking for. Turned away. It's just going to be a single. Amla. It's not one for herring between the wickets when he doesn't need to.
Calm and collected, I think you'll say. Knows what he's doing, apart from that first run in the first over.
Yeah, I think that was his mate who sold him down the river a touch. But he escaped. And since then he's gone from strength to strength. This one is also going to be a single. Jacks into the leg side. That short boundary. Holden is patrolling it. Throw comes in one bounce. Another thing Middlesex will try and do is whiz through these overs. You think Luke Holman might enter the fray as well from the nursery end. This one is turned leg side, and there's another quick single. Amla's going to have to hurry. And he gets there.
Yes, of course. It was remiss of me to say that he hadn't got a spin twin or a spin partner, because Holman, of course, just got it in my head that he's not in the squad, he's not playing.
That's what happens when you do too much research, is it, you see?
No, he
wasn't down initially, was he?
I was going to say, I'd sort of deleted him from my notes. It was all a fluster at the beginning. They don't think about the commentators when they do that, do they? It's like when they give you the team sheet and they give it in alphabetical order. Give us a batting order. That's what we want.
Yeah, but batting orders these days can be fluid, whereas alphabetical orders, they are what they are. It is going to be Luke Holman. So we're going to see double spin, and not just double spin, but double leg spin. Former England under-19 leggy has got a good wrong one. Get a bit more bounce, do you think, than Souter's taller man, more kind of over the top. He's going to be bowling to Hashim Amla, who's into the leg side. Not going to get a single here. Holman's quickly into the leg side to field off his own bowling. Another player with a towel flapping around behind him, maybe anticipating a little bit of dew. Shortish, and Amla is cutting. He's going to have to hurry. They get home comfortably. Going to take Tim Murtaugh on at that short third man position.
He reminds me, actually, I remember watching Souter start to break into the Middlesex team a few years ago now, bowling a lot flatter, almost because of those nerves, isn't it? You just don't want to be hit.
Jack's giving himself room and he's cutting. That is well fielded on a deep cover fence.
And Souter...
Jack Davies, is that? He's gone from deep point to deep point, I think. That's a long way across this ground.
Specialist fielders. Make him run.
Amla's driving. That's a good looking shot and well picked up. out of extra cover, and that is what Middlesex are going to need.
Yeah,
Eskenazi. Yep, very good. Just a single dropped into the offside, but a decent over this from Luke Holman. The brakes being applied ever so gently.
Yeah, it's one of those, I think, so Sauter, as he sort of evolved in the game, has got the confidence now to flight up a little bit more.
Short outside off stump, and cutting is Will Jacks in front of extra cover. It's probably just going to be the single. Amla not the quickest between the wickets. He's not going to hair back for a second, so decent over from Luke Holman. And Surrey, though, will be pretty happy with the progress they've made so far. 71 without loss after 8. Represents something of a foundation. Powerful middle order. Laurie Evans coming off an unbeaten 80 at Chelmsford. 88 unbeaten off 52. 7 4s, 4 6s. He can give it a thump. Jamie Overton made 30 in that game down the order, so they've got plenty of power still to come.
I was going to say, that's what's the most onerous, isn't it? Amla hasn't really fired, particularly at 75 against Kent, but otherwise it's the middle order that really done it for Surrey, and they're yet to come.
Yeah, Ben Folkes played well, didn't he, in that reverse fixture. Sauter to continue, and a big hit over the leg side. He's got a good piece of that. Has Will Jacks. It's another maximum to him. It wasn't a bad delivery from Sauter, but showing absolutely zero respect. Just thumped him over mid-wicket. He moves on to 34. Surrey 77 without loss. Umpire Ben Debenham just checking the ball. A bit of plastic seat, perhaps, stuck in it. So how will that affect Sauter's thinking? Jacks has got the power. That's a good delivery. Maybe a wrong one. Just cramping in for room. Come back. Not many in today. The odd photographer. Gone again. Big slog sweep. Didn't get all of it. Jack Davies, who's staying down there on the tavern side of the ground. He was the grandstand. There we go. Orange wristband. That's the key. If you're walking around London and you've got an orange wristband on, you could try your luck. I won't fancy your chances. Sauter. Amla down the wicket. He's launching straight, but he's just going to pick out Anderson, who returns to John Simpson. Looked like he was hell-bent on something a little bit more savage, Hashim Amla, as he almost cat-like danced down the wicket. Jack's cutting, and that's going to be boundary. Just a quicker one from Sauter. And he just leant back, Will Jacks. Bit of an open blade, and these boundaries keep coming.
There's been a couple of those that they just pushed them into the offside, where it was backward a point, cover point, and for a bowler you think, oh, you can get that, you can get that. But it's running away, it's a fast outfield, and these two playing elegantly. Really big partnership now for Surrey.
Sauter once again. Jacks is cutting. Good bit of fielding at backward point. Finishes the over with a dot. 83 without loss. Off 9, so Surrey above 9 runs per over. And you think at this stage they'd be looking at about 180, 190. It's a decent pitch. Any signs that it's playing differently, is he, from a couple of days ago?
Holman then to continue.
That's what Middlesex need. A few more dots. Hashim Amla. 43 with Jacks 39. And he's down the wicket. Amla just driving. He's going to get a single. Holman has started nicely.
So every bowler has gone at pretty much 10s apart from Holman. He's the anomaly. It's lucky you recovered from that ankle injury.
Yeah, well, don't speak too soon because Jax is up and over, and this is going to be 6. So the curse of Westbury strikes from a Middlesex perspective as Jax advances and launches that.
Don't say that. I'll be a figure of hate on the comments. I got a bit of stick for not picking up any wickets the other day, so it's not going particularly well.
Well, they're waving, I think, for a new ball. I don't know if this has happened much with the ball. Do they have to get a new one?
I think because if it goes over the boundary into the building site, that's a definite no-go zone. And once the ball's in there, that's it. We need a new one. And I think it did, didn't it? Bounced over the...
So when the ball goes in there, you just can't get it back. That's just a no-go zone.
You just can't. You're not allowed at all, and it's difficult for a cricket ground that's hosting a T20 match.
Yeah, we just got to have a large box of balls and give up on trying to get it to reverse, because you know as soon as it just starts to reverse, someone's going to whack you in there, and you've got to get a new ball.
It makes me think of one of the key English legal cases on negligence is set in cricket case law. It's about how many balls being hit over a garden fence constitutes negligence by the club. It's a very famous case, Bolton and Stone in the High Court in the 1950s. It makes me think of this one. You're not getting your ball back.
Well, there we go. Middlesex fans listening to the stream, getting a little bit of case law from back in the 50s. That's what you get with Izzy Westbury on commentary. Cerebral stuff as Holman's in again, and Jax is going big. That ball didn't last long. I'm not sure we'll be getting this one back as it goes just underneath the media centre. Is that a no-go zone, Izzy? Can they throw that one back?
That's it again. It's still in the building site, so I'm afraid that poor Surrey subfield is going to have to come on with another box of balls. They're going to run out of them at this rate.
Well, this is the question, because what constitutes negligence in some sort of 50s case law? And I'm not worried about the negligence angle. I'm just worried about how many balls we've got in our boxes here at HQ. Because, I mean, there's going to come a point when we run out of balls if Will Jax keeps doing this. He's successive 6s.
Does preparation constitute having... 120 balls in the bag, just in case?
Just in case everyone goes for 6. Well, I think you probably get away with 10 or 12. You probably think you've got most... It's like a golfer. I take quite a lot of golf balls in my golf bag because I know I'm bound to lose quite a few. And Will Jax is launching 3-wards down the ground at the minute. This time he goes for the cover drive. He'll be pushing 2 here. Amla not the quickest, but he's coming back. He's going to have to hurry. Throw comes in to the bowler's end. Amla scurries back for 2. So good over this from a Surrey perspective. 6, 6 and 2.
Yes, and from Holman's perspective, he's catching up with the run rate.
Yeah, he thinks maybe he should be going at 10s because all his mates are. He's bowling once again to Will Jax, who that kind of top spin forehand cross court through down to mid wicket. This time it's just going to be the 1.
So after 9 overs, or 10 overs even, Surrey a 99 without loss. Well, Surrey have got off to a very good start indeed. 99 without loss. Not only runs, but no wickets either. Jax there on 54, Amla on 44. Each Middlesex bowler going in around about 10s as Murtagh take things up from the pavilion end. Nice straight and prodded into the onside. Murtagh's going to have to field off his own bowling. He's running around a bit.
Well, that was hilarious because Amla could have got 2 there. Tim Murtagh was after it. He was going to be the closest man to it. Will Jax had just pushed that beautifully into the onside. That kind of thing that you try when there's no one in the infield. You just knock it kind of half speed and scuttle back for 2. But I think Amla fancies a little bit of Tim Murtagh. Battle of the golden oldies.
Murtagh to Amla. And he's thrashed that into the offside. There's a man out at cover point. Sorry, now past the 100 mark.
.101. Superstitious I am of 101.
Oh, Really?
Yeah, it's the only thing.
111, is that
No,
not
101 for me, room 101. I stayed in hotel rooms and consecutive away matches for Kent some 20 years ago, and I didn't get to 3 in either match.
Murtagh, this is high in the air. There's a man underneath it, a long off, and he's taken it on the second attempt there. It just hung for such a long time. It was Luke Holman. He had, what, 3, 4, 5 seconds to watch it. And there was Will Jacks, who's careered to 55 from 29. And he almost fumbled it. But we've got the first wicket for Middlesex, and it's a much-needed one. Surrey, 101 for 1.
Yeah, the end of Jacks' big wicket. Well done, Stephen Finn, reintroducing his old mate Tim Murtagh into the attack. Looking to launch him straight, as Jacks did to good effect in the last over. Holman juggled it, but was grateful to cling on. So, opening stand, 101 strikes. I told you it was a dodgy number. Good news for Middlesex. There's plenty of batting power to come. It looks like Laurie Evans to the crease, and he's in good touch, coming off that unbeaten 88 against Essex at Chelmsford in their last match. Tim Murtagh showing all his experience, just perhaps a little bit of pace off. Getting it full, making him hit straight. Longer boundary down to the pavilion here at Lord's.
Amla's on strike as they, of course, crossed, and this one's thrashed back at the bowler. Murtagh stuck a hand out, but didn't have much of a chance, really, and they've come back for 2. Yes, you get Jacks out, you bring in Evans, as you say, he's in fine form. Imposing prospect for any bowler. And Amla reaches, or nearing, his 50. 103 for 1. Shouts of catch as Amla there misses his balance. Falls over to the onside, but nothing on it. Floodlights now coming into their own as the sun just disappears behind us. Beautiful orange tinge to the sky. Still nice and warm. This might be the last of it. As we head towards the winter, here comes Murtagh. It's played nicely placed between extra cover inside the ring and point out on the boundary edge. Stalls in the ground. Amla moves to 48. I think we're going to see. I'm going to say we're going to see Evans face his first ball, but he's hogged the strike again. He's good at doing that, Amla. 48 from 36 balls. Sorry, 104 for 1.
Yeah, Middlesex striking in that last over. That's exactly what they needed to get rid of Jacks. He just looked like he was going pedal to the metal, didn't he? He's been losing balls. That'll please whoever's responsible for that box of balls that he's gone. Holman is going to continue persevering with him. As inside out comes Amla, and there's an attempted catch down on the cover point boundary. I tell you what, it would have been a pretty cracking one if he'd managed to get to it, Jack Davies. He was running, sprinting to his right. It was about head height, but he just couldn't get there in time. And it means that it's 6 runs to Amla. He gets his 50. 54 from 37 deliveries. It's been quite the knock so far, but that one was just tempting. It was horrible there for the fielder. You just thought maybe I can get there. Not this time. Yeah, I think he picked it up a little bit late, Izzy. I think he might have thought that Amla was coming down the pitch, hitting it more towards long off, and he sliced it a bit with an open blade, and he was in with half a chance. But you're right, it would have been a cracking catch had he got it in his right mitt. Holman flatter to Amla. Takes it cleanly on the return. One bounce into his hands. Somebody, when they, or it might be a builder, or whoever clears the building site out, is going to find a whole host of things. It's down the track, advances Amla. Get to the pitch of the ball, thinks about 2. Evans says, no thanks, I want to have a share of this. I want to go. Yeah, lightning bit of work across the turf from Max Holden at mid-wicket, preventing the second run. Yeah, you're right about those white balls aren't cheap. There was one that was only a ball old, wasn't it? I mean, it wouldn't have been a new one, but it didn't see a lot of use today, that's for certain. Should we see them pop up on eBay at some point then? Well, I go golf ball scrumping with my sons. We go into the woods at Faversham Golf Club, where if you walk down the side of the 11th, you find a lot of golf balls. And we take a bucket down there, go down there about 8 o'clock at night, find about 50 or 60 sometimes.
Evans to face his first ball. Nicely played, nicely fielded. And what do you do with them? Do you get sort of, can you sell them or get a refund or a?
Well, I work on the
help?
theory that I'm going to be, you know,
I'm
going to be giving them back
right,
the next time I play. So I just stick them in my golf bag for next time.
Flatter, plugged down the ground by Evans. He'll be off the mark with a single.
But you find some good ones in there. So yeah, I could imagine a workman just pocketing 4 or 5 almost new white cricket balls.
Final ball of this over. Patted back at the bowler. Now it was a better one from Holman after being smashed for consecutive 6s in the previous over. It's a strong reply.
So 112 for 1 after 12. So that's Laurie Evans marking his guard. Been in good touch. A man who started his career at Surrey, and went up to Warwickshire, down to Sussex. He's been all over the place, but highly thought of, especially against the white ball, and extremely dangerous.
Murtaugh's going to finish his 4 overs. The misfield. Deep mid wicket. Gives Evans 2 runs. Should have been a single. That won't help Middlesex, especially that rate that Surrey are going. Wickets in hand, they're going at almost 9.5 and over. 142 is the total that Middlesex set in that first innings here on Saturday. But so far it's going to be an imposing one they'll have to chase. Nicely weighted by Evans. Another 1 to his name. So we've seen Finn bowl 2 overs, and he bowled 2 sort of 1 over spells in the power play overs. But it means that we've seen him able to bowl his full complement outside the power play in the middle overs before. We don't have 2 to play with now. I wonder when we'll see him back in the thick of things. This one's played wide. Holden again. Busy man out there at cover point.
Yeah, he's one of the standout fielders, isn't he, Max Holden? He's got a good arm on him. He's quick across the turf. He's fairly low to the ground as well, so he gets that ball in quickly. Middlesex, I don't think, have been quite at their sharpest tonight in the field. He's been an exception. He's led the way.
Floated, full delivery from Murtaugh. No run is a call. Slight misfield tumble there from Eskenazi, but Murtaugh pounces on it before Surrey can think of a single.
Just looking at some of the teams Laurie Evans has played for. T20 franchises around the world. Dhaka Platoon, Moulton Sultans, Rajani Kings.
Back over the bowler's head. 1 bounce, 4 into the pavilion. That's a glorious looking shot.
Yeah, you can see why with shots like that. Laurie Evans, a man in demand around the world in franchise cricket. A very clean striker of a cricket ball. Perhaps hasn't played IPL or Big Bash cricket. Just the kind of tier down from that. And those franchises around the world, but he's a fine player when he gets going.
Murtaugh to Evans. Final ball of the over. He'll retain the strike as he pushes it into the offside. And Surrey, after 13 overs, 7 overs left of this innings, setting up a very good platform indeed. They're 121 for 1. Amla has passed his 50, but Evans, a danger man, who's certainly in form. And what do you do here if you're Middlesex captain? Well, he's going to turn to himself. Stephen Finn's coming back into the attack.
Yeah, turned to himself. Something I never said when I was captain of Kent. No one would have wanted to have seen that. Just to finish on the pedigree of Laurie Evans, leading run scorer in the Blast in 2018 for Sussex. He won with the Birmingham Bears. It might have even been Warwickshire back then in 2014. He's played all over the world. So these two, a formidable partnership. Just field change potentially. Someone said stop. I think it was Tim Murtaugh down in front of us here. Just wondering whether he should be up in the ring, but no.
Finn then into Evans, bangs it into the turf. Evans pulls, doesn't time. Brings Amla back on strike.
So Helm's got 2 left. He'll bowl the last 2 from one end. He's a death specialist, isn't he?
Well, he was the man that really got that tie against Kent earlier in the season. It's Finn to Amla, gives himself room, toe ends the ball, tries to pull it into the stands, and it's one of those where your eyes start following to the left and you realise it's gone nowhere at all. Just trickled out in front of him, get a single for it.
Yeah, I saw Helm bowl a wonderful over. I think it might have been a couple of years ago here against Sussex when Sussex were doing it easy, and I think he went for about 5 off the last and ended up winning a game that Middlesex had no right to win. So he's got proven pedigree in the death overs.
Finn to Evans, wide called. It's tight with their wides as they have to be. Almost as though it was going just over the leg stump, but enough room to be signalled wide.
And Finn will have one more after this, and if he doesn't turn to a new bowler, he's going to have to find 3 overs from Holman and Souter. Souter's got 2 left, Holman's got 1.
Finn bangs it into the turf, pulled nicely by Amla. Well fielded by Fine Leg, just the single. Yeah, they may have felt at this point, Middlesex, that they've got rid of Amla or somebody. Give their spinners a bit something different to bowl to.
Yeah, well, I think obviously Holman persevered after they got rid of Jacks. If they'd not got rid of Jacks, that would have really given Stephen Finn a headache. That was a good bit of work, though, on the fine leg boundary by Joe Cracknell on debut. Interesting to see him back later.
Amla gives himself room and just plays it, scoops it over his right shoulder. But there's a man there quickly. He's nice and fine at third man. Just gets 2 for it, but it was an elegant looking shot, that one.
Yeah, just used the pace from Stephen Finn, a little ramp shot over John Simpson, but Tim Murtaugh it was scuttling around. I wonder how much Tim Murtaugh enjoys this. Well, my guess is he probably loves it. I'm sure he'd love to have 28,000 people cheering him on. It's kind of a shame that he's made his comeback in Middlesex colours without anyone watching.
Amla waits full, very full. It's Yorked him, that's a really good ball. Amla did well to get bat onto it. Nice reply there from Finn. Well, as soon as the Bob Willis Trophy campaign had ended, Murtaugh was straight into the white ball squad. I don't think he... Yeah, I think he wanted it. I think he was in there.
Yeah, well, I suppose usually at that he'd be thinking about a holiday somewhere, but there's so many quarantine rules and regs, and they're always changing, aren't they? He probably thought, no, I'm not going to go on holiday. I'll speak to Karina. Maybe we just stay at home. I'll play some white ball cricket.
This time pull shot into the onside. Land safe. But it means that after 14 overs, Surrey 128 for 1.
Yeah, so you think Surrey here, you put 10 over, they'd be hoping for at least that, I would think, with 9 wickets to play with. So you'll be looking at kind of 188, 190. And they'll be targeting 200, no question, which is a far larger total than Middlesex managed against Hampshire on this same strip. But a couple of days more preparation, perhaps it is a better surface.
So Nathan Souter has bowled 2 overs, gone for 20 runs. He's back on. And this is launched into the onside. That's 6. Hits about 4 rows back into the stands beneath the scorer's box where old Father Time sits. It's a nice looking shot. Amla continues. He moves to 66. They really, really need to get rid of him. I mean, it goes without saying. But to have somebody with such experience, such timing, who will also know exactly when to accelerate, how to use the pace or not of different bowlers.
Well, I think with 6 overs remaining, it's not a case of having to do anything other than just keep hitting 4s and 6s, really. 9 wickets to play with.
Shorter. Played back at the bowler. That's a good dot there from Middlesex.
And this is the beauty of having wickets in hand. With so few overs remaining, it just means you can go all guns blazing.
Amla advancing down the track. The ball lands just in front of Holman. Long off. Good couple of deliveries here from Nathan Souter. Flatter, Evans gives himself room. That's all right. I won't mind that, Middlesex. 3 singles. So now the question is, what do they do with these last 2? Don't spoil it. Amla bowls him. Goes for the big heave-ho. Targeting the square leg. Stayed low. Carried on through. And Souter gets his first wicket of the evening. Goodness, they needed that, Middlesex. Amla goes for 67. Surrey 136 for 2.
Cracking bit of bowling from Nathan Souter. Smack for 6 over deep mid-wicket, first ball. But boy, has he come back well. Flatter, quicker. Hashim Amla realising that with all those batsmen in the hutch still to come, lots of good ball strikers, that he could afford to go straight into top gear. But that, as you rightly described, he was a heave-ho. It was a bit of a slog. It was un-Amla-like, and it's brought about his demise. Nonetheless, a very fine 67. I am somewhat surprised, though, to see Rory Burns strolling to the crease. I suppose left-right hand combination is a factor, but with so few overs remaining, you'd think maybe an Atkinson who hits a long ball, or a Ben Foakes who's been in really good touch. Jamie Overton thumps it. So Rory Burns, who has got a few runs in this competition so far this year, but he hasn't got them at a great rate. And you think this isn't a Rory Burns situation, but he could yet prove us wrong.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I mean, Overton's strike rate in T20 cricket is 157, which is ludicrous, frankly. And Atkinson as well. Oh well.
Well, unless they're thinking, if we don't get Rory in now, we're going to be wasting one of our resources. But I sometimes think you can afford to let him do nothing.
Whoa, and he's almost bowled first ball, almost playing onto his stumps, in fact. Chopped on, but no, it's just missed outside off, and I think it's nutmegged the keeper as well as it runs away for 2.
Yeah, we didn't know that he had the nutmeg in his locker. That was exactly what he did. Bottom edge between John Simpson's legs.
So
picks
after
up a brace.
15 overs, Middlesex, or Surrey even, 138 for 2. So Laurie Evans is the man in at the moment on 12. He's got a new partner at the crease, and Rory Burns. 2 off his first delivery to get off the mark. And Surrey, 5 overs left of their innings, 138 for 2. It's a good platform, that.
Yeah, decent platform for Surrey. Interesting to see Rory Burns coming in, and a bowling change for Middlesex. They've gone away from their spinners. It's going to be Martin Anderson, who's had a very fine season in Middlesex colours. Starts with a bouncer. I've seen a bit of that in the Bob Willis Trophy, but it is a no ball, so too short from Anderson. And that is for height, so no signal of free hit, as Izzy tries to get a jumper on over her cap, which is, well done. Did you forget to take your cap off, or?
No, it would have messed my hair up if I had to. A ponytail, you see.
So Anderson running down. Another short ball, and he's going to get pulled one bounce to deep square leg. Got a good piece of it, did Laurie Evans. It's only going to cost a single. He latched onto it. And it'll be interesting whether Anderson employs the same tactic to Rory Burns with a short boundary to the tavern side of the ground.
Interesting ploy to get Anderson on at this stage. He hasn't got a wicket yet in the T20 matches for Middlesex. He's certainly a capable all-rounder. We saw that in the Bob Willis Trophy. But I don't know whether to say audacious or desperate move from Middlesex here. Try something different.
Yeah, he's only bowled a couple of overs, but an economy rate at the moment of 13.5, which probably explains why he's only bowled a couple of overs. But the way the spinners, they were taking a bit of a shine to the spinners, these Surrey batsmen, perhaps giving them something different to think about. Yeah, I've liked the cut of his jib this year, particularly in the Bob Willis Trophy. He's put bat to ball. It looks like he wants to be centre stage. And he's been entrusted now as he comes into England's Test opener, Rory Burns, who's slogging away to the leg side, and he's got just enough of it. And it is in and over the boundary for 6, into the seats. And I take everything back that I said about Rory Burns.
Yeah, started with 2 no balls, and then the first legitimate delivery has gone for 6.
Yeah, which is messy, and it won't please Stephen Finn. He's turned to the young man. He's now going to come round the wicket to Burns. And once again, the umpires have a little chat. I don't know, did someone throw it back who shouldn't have done? Does the ball need a clean? Sometimes we've seen this. I was at Kent the other day, and the ball got hit into the retirement flats, and this oldish fella threw the ball back, and all of a sudden everyone kind of panicked. Can we touch it? Can we not touch it? Do we have to get a wet wipe? And sure enough, on came the 12th man. Looks like a new ball's being selected.
Do you have to wet wipe it for 20 seconds and sing happy birthday to yourself twice while you do it?
That I'm not sure. We see here the Ben Debenham going for a new, having a look through the box of balls. We've seen a couple lost. I wonder if that one went out of shape as it bounced off a bit of concrete. But this is not what Middlesex needed. It's an expensive over. No balls and a maximum. The board is still saying just the 1 ball, isn't it? So we've had 2 no balls, and the first legitimate one has gone for 6. So Martin Anderson, in truth, needs to buck his ideas up a little bit here. Talented young man, and his team need him. Bat goes long on, square leg coming up, so you'd expect this one to be pitched up. Burns swings it away again to the short leg side boundary. It's out of fields, it's just going to be a single, that's better.
Almost identical looking shot, brings up the Surrey's 150. Off 92 balls, going at just under 10s per over. Yeah, I think Rory Burns just came in with a licence to play his shots.
Yeah, nice to have a licence, particularly when you're a Test opener, when you never get one of those. Slapped away into the leg side from Laurie Evans. They're going to scamper 2. Burns is quick, and that's the other thing that they'll be thinking about. Evans and Burns together will run quickly between the wickets. But a good bit of work. I think that's Holman down there on the long on boundary. Prevents the second run. Yeah, Burns able to play with complete freedom in this situation, as will every Surrey batsman that walks to the crease. They're not going to die wondering here, that's for certain. As Anderson's in past umpire Rob Bailey. And it's cracked for 4. It's going to be 1 bounce into the leg side. Oh, a couple of bounces. But, Burns gets another boundary. And this is an over that Martin Anderson will want to forget. Still got a couple of balls remaining. Seems to have gone on for about 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, when you've been hit for what, 9 runs of your first legitimate, by the time you got to the first legitimate delivery, it's you think, oh my goodness, I've got 5 more of these to go.
Any kind of riposte from Anderson. He's full outside off stumps, a better looking delivery, but Burns slices it away. He's going to get a couple. Just looking at my scorecard to see how many balls remaining. I think it is just the 1, and as I look down at my iPad screen. There's a message from my son. Mum says, can you get ketchup on the way home? So there you go. Got to multitask here. I've got to think of shopping lists as well as trying to commentate on an important game of cricket. But, if he's listening, and he might well be listening, yes, I'll get ketchup. Anderson in to Burns. He's up and over extra cover. Didn't get much of that. Sliced it. Going to get another couple. I've lost count, Izzy, how many off this over, but it's plenty.
Yeah, Anderson has gone for 21 from his 8 deliveries, but his first over. And that little experiment, that little change up for Stephen Finn, it certainly did not do what was intended. It means that Surrey now are in a glorious position, really. I'm afraid to say, for Middlesex fans out there, 159 for 2. 4 overs left. That 200 is very much on the horizon.
Yeah, you think Surrey are going to be posting around the 200 mark, and well, a steep learning curve for Martin Anderson. He's had a good Bob Willis trophy, 24. We turned 24 just a week or so ago. September the 6th was his birthday, so still a young man. He's had a couple of years out with injury, hasn't he? Back problems, and he's got a lot of ability. I've really liked what I've seen from him, but he was going at 13 and a halves from his 2 overs in this campaign coming into this match, and that over will have that average and economy rate going in the wrong direction. Here's Tom Helm. Wide outside off stump. I think Ben Debenham is going to turn and outstretch the arms. Yes, indeed. Laurie Evans a swing and a miss. So a few too many extras creeping in here. Full outside Evans is off stump. Good bit of bowling with the field set deep. He's got a backward square on the fence. He's got a deep cover in front of square on the fence. And Helm's going for the wide Yorker. And he executed well there, just the single.
Floodlights now in full beam. Every player has 4 shadows emanating from them. As Finn really manoeuvring the field.
And it's could have been a bit of a masterstroke, Rory Burns coming in. We thought it was a strange move at the time, but he's 17 from 6. He was helped out by those no balls from Anderson in the last over, but left-hand, right-hand combination proving useful. That's a good bit of bowling. Tom Helm. That slower ball did Rory Burns all ends up, and that is a good option. You know, Burns is a decent player, but he's made his name in red ball cricket. He probably hasn't seen too much of the back of the hand slower ball over the years. So I definitely think to Burns, variations are the key. Gets across Rory Burns, and a lap for 4. Cracking bit of batting. Hill went for the quicker one. Perhaps pace off is the way forwards, but Rory Burns playing a fine hand for his side. Very quickly on to 21.
Yeah, such a lovely shot. He just helping on its way, using all the pace of the bowler. You forget, of course, they look so easy, but you really need to have that timing.
Yeah, not easy. Tom Helm's quick, and he got across and lapped it. I'd have, if I was a betting man, about £100 on a slower ball here. And I would have lost my money, but I probably would have been a decent shout to have heeded my advice there, because he went pace on, and yet again he went for 4. I just think to a classical opening batsman like Rory Burns, who's used to, you think what he faced last year in the Ashes, he had Cummins and Hazelwood and Stark. You know, this is a guy that likes pace on the ball. What do you give a test opening batsman? You give him the one out the back of the hand in my book. So I've now have to double my money. Easy, I've gone 500 quid on the slower ball.
I feel sort of injured from a Middlesex perspective, because surely you shouldn't have a test opener doing this to you. It's playing havoc.
Tom Helm about to bowl a slower ball. There it is, and he plays a misses. I tell you what, oh, it's a wide. It was a wide, but it was the right tactic. I tell you what, I should have captained.
Okay,
Easy.
More T20 there, yeah? That's what you needed.
Easy game from up here. Become a much better player and captain. I don't know about yourself, Izzy, but it's an easier game from 200 yards away.
I was better captain than player, that was my issue.
Yeah, a lot of people said that I was, and they didn't rate my captaincy that highly. Helmsden again. Goes the pace off, and he's got drilled straight to Stephen Finn at mid-off. So pace off has worked for Tom Helm. Stephen Finn with a good catch. They needed that. Middlesex. Burns was looking dangerous. As it is, he's gone for 25 off 9. 170 for 3, Surrey.
Well, it certainly worked. Threw him in for a couple of overs. Got him going. Flung everything at it. Timed pretty much everything. And it means that Burns might depart with his head bowed. But it matters not. He's got 25 of them in quick time. Sorry, 170 for 3. Who are we going to see make their way to the crease? It is indeed Jamie Overton. His strike rate, imperious 157. He likes this format. His highest score might be only 31. But they come at quite a rate.
Yeah, well, Tom Helm will have to think long and hard about whether he goes the slower ball to Jamie Overton, because he can hit a massive ball. But if he learns anything from that little spell bowling at Rory Burns, it's just give an opening batsman, a classical opening batsman, take the pace off. I would be expecting a full Yorker straight at the furniture here. Over pitched, wide outside off stump. And rather got away with that one, Tom Helm. Slapped for a single, 171 for 3. 3 overs remain.
Yeah, I wondered there if Overton was taken a bit by surprise by a full toss, wide outside off stump. Hello. Just had to get a bat on it.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing you dream about as a new batsman. Tom Helm bowling a full pace delivery, wide outside off stump. He got a good piece of it, Jamie Overton, but just picked out the man on the deep cover fence. So Stephen Finn, that Martin Anderson experiment, no surprise, has come to an end, which means he's got to turn to his spinner. So here's Nathan Souter. He's going to be bowling to Overton. He's punching up, and Laurie Evans did his best to get in the leg spinner's way. But scurrying past him and round him was Souter, prevents the single. Probably hear the sirens from our effects mic. Overton gives himself room, smears this to long on, probably just going to be the single. Here's Evans back on strike. Curious innings from Laurie Evans. Hasn't seen much of the strike, going at about a run a ball, and everyone else has been going much better than that. So he'll be looking to explode in these last few overs. Little scoop. He's got a good piece of it, and chasing to the boundary is Tom Helm. Gets a couple for it. Good invention.
I think that happens quite frequently, where you've got 2 or 3 batters that just go at a phenomenal rate, see the ball really well, hitting it, timing it beautifully, and then you come in and think, oh, I can do the same. But actually, it's normally a bit harder than it looks.
Evans gives himself room. He's cutting. It's going to be just the single. Deep point is Jack Davis. Returns on the bounce. So, what happened there?
I think that Nathan Souter's towel dropped out from behind his trousers.
So we're going to have to bowl that one again.
Mm-hmm.
So Laurie Evans will be thankful of that, particularly if this one goes for runs. An errant towel.
Second time it's happened, actually, and they played the first one.
So replaying that delivery, and Evans is sweeping. This could be out, actually. Why not thank it? Oh, it's a misfield, and it could have gone for 6. It has gone for 6. A misjudgment on the deep square fence. Looked for all money like it was going to be straight down the throat of the fielder. Can't see who it is he? But looking for the number on the back.
I think it's the young Joe Cracknell, I'm afraid. Welcome to the ball pit. This was unfortunate, really.
I think the umpire's just checking that it did in fact go all the way for 6, but Cracknell looked like he had it under control. He hasn't had a lot of work out there, in truth, and sometimes that happens. Yeah, it was Cracknell. The one bit of work I remember him doing was a very lively piece where he slid round, picked it up, flapped it in, prevented a single, and it's gone all the way. Evans smoking it again, this time into the leg side. It'll be at least 2. It's the longest part of the ground. He picked the gap. Didn't get all of it. So, how expensive could that be? Middlesex have not been at their best in the field. 182 for 3. 200 is looming large. Evans through the offside. That's a bit of work. Davis on the deep point fence saves 3 runs. That was brilliant. So from the ridiculous to the sublime, that's what Middlesex need more of. 183 for 3.
Yeah, really good piece of fielding. Get one hand to it, and normally when the ball's going at that speed, quite often it pushes him over the boundary edge. But kept his strength there. Fielded really nicely, as you say, definitely stopping 3 runs. We have 2 overs left. It looks like Helm's going to end things from the pavilion end.
Slow ball from Helm. It's been launched by Evans. It's not going to beat Martin Anderson, who pockets it safely at long on. So that ends Evans' knock. He's gone for 26. 183 for 4. Much needed wicket as Evans thumps his pad. You could probably hear that. Thumps his pad in disgust that he didn't middle that one.
Yeah, second wicket for Tom Helm. And as you said earlier, Dave, it's been a sort of so-so innings from Evans. Just never really got going. I mean, he was going the whole time at more than a run a ball, 26, I think, off 18. But with the likes of Amla and Jacks in front of him, partnering for more than 100 and really launching things from the off, it almost was an anticlimax when he came in.
Yeah, and you talk about batting orders and Burns coming in and Overton coming in. You've got someone like Ben Folkes who played so beautifully at the Oval and has been in really good touch. He's wandering in with a couple of overs remaining. That's 2020 as Helm bowls to Overton, and he sliced this over the short third man, who was effectively like a deep 4th or 5th slip, but he swung so hard he got it up and over, and he's going to get a boundary. That is bad luck from a Middlesex perspective.
It's a horrible one, isn't it, for a bowler? It was tight, it was back of a length, it was a really good-looking ball. A huge outside edge, big waft to the bat, and that's the way it goes. That's T20 for you.
Yeah, it was a good bit of bowling. It was full, it was wide. That's what he's got his field set for. This is the slower ball. Overton, an ugly pull shot into the leg side. Folkes is quick, but he's not going to risk coming back for a second, and that was a good decision because Souter's throw was a bullet right over the top of the bowler's stumps.
Overton's a very emotional cricketer. He's so angry at himself for mistiming that delivery. He's still throwing his head up in anger at the heavens. It's not the end of the world.
Folkes, who's been in decent touch, gets a piece of this, but this could be out. Is it going to drop safe? Whoa, I didn't want it. Deep cover coming in. Who was that? Was that Holden? Yeah, Max Holden. Just took the decision to let it go one bounce. I think if he'd have kept running at it, he might have got it on the full. But sometimes at this stage of an innings, it's kind of damage limitation. Let it go one bounce. Folkes got back for 2. I reckon if he'd flung himself at it, he might have got there.
It's one of those where you've got to make that split-second decision as you're running at full pelt. And I think you may have been right there.
Down the leg side, this is going to be a wide, and it's a misfield from John Simpson. Might go all the way. So once again, Middlesex a little bit sloppy in the field, and that is going to go for 4 wides. I think in fairness to John Simpson, Tom Helm, when he bowls that one out the back of the hand, it can turn sometimes.
Yeah.
It looked like it might have turned on the second bounce.
I was going to say, and bouncing just in front of him, it's a horrible one to have to pick up. Now we're commentating from one of the sort of top of the pavilion on the right hand side, and there's another sort of tower to our left.
Good looking shot, this one from Folkes, thinking about the throw, but he held on to it. Stephen Finn decided not to chance his arm. I think had he thrown and hit, Folkes might have struggled, but opting just to save the runs.
We're still on the right turret, but on the left turret is the director of cricket here, Angus Fraser. He's sitting in his familiar position, and I tell you what, he's somebody that you know what's going on when you look at him.
Yes, what is his body language telling you? Back to that in just a second as Helm comes in. He's driving again. Is Jamie Overton. Stephen Finn's getting through some work at extra cover. What is the director of cricket's body language saying, is he?
I think things could be better, to put it mildly. One over left, sorry, 197 before. We were talking about that 200. It's going to be one hell of a chase.
Yeah, of course, we saw Middlesex make 209, didn't we, against Kent? And that probably shouldn't have been enough. Kent somehow contrived to get a tie when they looked like they were cruising to victory. So sometimes it's tough to read conditions here. What is a good score? What isn't a good score? At first glance, you'd think anything above 200 is a decent score, especially after what happened on this same surface just 2 days ago.
It's one of those that, having had those 400 runs scored in the first match, it almost sort of desensitized us, and we thought, oh, that's the norm, off we go. But nothing like that since.
Here's Finn, this has gone straight up in the air. It's going to take some catching. In fact, it might well land safe. In, coming in, this will be a hell of a catch. What a valiant effort that is. We said that Max Holden didn't go for the last one. Well, that was Nathan Souter, who was charging in there absolutely at top speed, flung himself at it. Out pops the towel. And Jamie Overton, well, he got back for two. The ball went probably about 25 yards in terms of distance away from the stumps and about 75 yards upwards. Stuart Law finding that fairly amusing. Bouncer, and nothing is going Middlesex's way at the moment. Hook stroke from Overton, top edge, and John Simpson flung himself up at it, couldn't get a mid on it, and it goes for yet another boundary.
Well, it brings up Surrey's 200 as well, 203 in the 20th over. That is an imperious total. It'll take some catching. Well, we might be in for the chase of the season. What do you know?
Well, this one won't go to the boundary. It's going to be the single as Overton. Once again. Oh, no. This is... do not look at Angus Fraser would be... In fact, I'm looking at him now. He's up out of his seat. And he's not saying anything. It's probably just as well. But he is leaning over there. And I wouldn't say gesticulating, is he? But Stephen Finn here will not be impressed.
I'm just waiting for him to put his hands on his hips. That'll be the next stage.
So just 3 balls remaining, and these Middlesex fielders can get out of the firing line. That's going to be big. That's not going to help Angus Fraser's mood. That is huge. Huge from Overton. And that might be looking for another ball in the old box. Yep, the umpires are heading to the pavilion once again. New balls, please. That is into the grandstand. Well, that's the biggest hit I've seen for some while.
Time the socks off that one. Didn't look as though there was much effort either, but Overton's powerful figure. We get it in the right area. Bang! Long levers, everything behind it.
Yeah, using a bit of the pace, wasn't he, of Finn as well? It was a quick delivery, but he just swiveled on it. I'm not sure he's got the best bat either. It's not making the best of noises, but it went many a mile. What has Finn got as an answer? 4. See, they made that funny noise again, and this is still going to go for 6. Stephen Finn, head in hands. It's Jamie Overton once again coming to the party. Did it at Chelmsford with a quick fire 30. He's on 28 off 11. Back-to-back sixes.
Well, 20 already from this over, and still another ball to come. It's not even as though Middlesex will leave the field with any momentum. It's difficult to watch. Overton, well, you talked about his bat. I think he's decided that he needs a new one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange time to go and get a new bat, isn't it, with one ball remaining, especially when you've just hit 2 sixes from the previous 2 deliveries, but it didn't make a great sound, did it?
Just
Probably
worried
just
about
as well.
if you hit those 2 sixes with a broken bat, what's it going to do with a new one?
So Jamie Overton poised, new bat at the ready. Last ball of the innings. Better delivery from Stephen Finn. Can't get underneath that one. Overton, they're going to scamper back for 2. They're going to try anyway. Throw comes in and he's run out. Overton's gone. Decent return from the deep mid-wicket fence. So not going to get much momentum, Middlesex. But at least they did pick up another wicket. But 217 for 4. Might tick round to 218 for 4, I'm guessing, as Overton will move to 29, just waiting for that scoreboard to change. But Izzy Westbury, that is a very, very formidable looking score.
It is indeed the highest total that we've seen so far here at Lord's, this final T20 Blast match at the home of cricket. And, well, Middlesex don't like it when anyone scores that kind of total against them, but when it's the likes of Surrey, who so far are 1-0 up in the London Derby, it's going to take a mighty, mighty chase.
Yeah, 218 for 5. It did tick round. Overton run out off that last ball, but not before he'd done an awful lot of damage. Just running through the scorecard. Jacks a quick fire 55 from 30. Amla a classy 67 from 49. Evans a more Bacarman's 26 from 19. Burns, who was a surprise coming in at number 4, 25 off just 10 deliveries. And then those fireworks from Jamie Overton at the end, 28 off 11 deliveries, 218 for 5. 29 in the end he made. And looking at those bowling figures, Izzy, well, they were all expensive. The only 2 men under 10 runs per over, the experience of Tim Murtagh, 8.75, and Luke Holman, 9.33.
Yeah, it was at the stage about 5 overs in when it looked as though Middlesex was sharing it around, going at 10 overs each, and Stephen Finn really trying to chop and change a little bit. We saw him for the first time really at this tournament bowling in the power play overs, and then trying to see whether his spin bowlers could come in, Souter and Holman in the middle overs, but they couldn't stem the flow of runs either. And then there was the Anderson experiment. Poor man, I mean, he hasn't bowled many overs so far in this tournament. He's bowled extremely well in the Bob Willis Trophy, but him getting hit for 21 in the sort of middle overs, it just felt as though it wasn't going to stop anywhere. And the problem as well with Surrey is that Amla and Jack's at the top of the order, but it was the middle. It's the middle order of Surrey that have really done damage in this tournament so far. Just so the moment one man went out, just another one came in, just churn, and really all of their explosive ones. We haven't even seen Gus Atkinson at the crease either. So a formidable total, and a lot of work to do for Middlesex.
Yeah, well, I guess they had such a good start. It meant the batsmen coming in the middle order didn't have to think too hard about it. There was no rebuilding job needed, was there? They could just put their foot flat down. I did their game at Canterbury when they got stuffed by Kent, and they were 20 for 3 quite quickly. And then Amla, whilst he got 75, he had to just tick it around. There was none of that today, because that start, that 101 for the first wicket, meant that even the likes of Burns coming in the middle could just thrash away. And I think the disappointing thing from a Middlesex perspective will be the fielding. You know, I know Joe Cracknell on debut, you can forgive him for that one that went over his head, but there was a few things that slipped through. Stuart Law, I don't think will be particularly happy with the fielding. There was a few things that went against them as well. You know, luck sometimes needs to be on your side in T20 Blast matches. There was that top edge that just flew over John Simpson's head towards the end, the one that bounced and kind of wrong-footed him as well. But I think with 1 or 2 exceptions, I thought Holden was good, I thought Souter was excellent. Middlesex not quite at their best in the field tonight.
Well, 1 innings down, 1 innings still to go. It's a wonderful, balmy summer's evening here at Lord's. I think the one thing missing, though, of course, is what Middlesex would need, a roaring crowd behind them. But let's take a look at a video from Middlesex's players who have a message for everyone who can't join us here at Lord's for the game and are watching back at home.
The moment is drawing near where we will once again be able to represent you. to play for you, renewing old rivalries and creating new ones.
Inspiring a new generation and remembering the past, while never forgetting our heroes who have sacrificed so much to bring us back together.
The walk to the ground, the meeting up with old friends and the making of new, the fireworks lighting up the Thursday night sky may all have to wait for now.
But we know that until you are back in the stands, you are with us, in the changing rooms, in the slips, in the dugout, down at the other end.
Thank you to all the essential workers that have kept us safe, the fans from Middlesex and abroad who have kept us motivated, the club sponsors for their unwavering commitment, and to our members for their patience and support, the lifeblood of Middlesex cricket.
It will certainly not be the same until you return. We hope you join us for every match.
Every ball, every wicket, every 4 and 6, delivered to you with our new enhanced broadcast live.
Middlesex cricket is back at the crease and we cannot wait to welcome you back.
Welcome back to Lord's. Beautiful summer's evening, late summer's Monday evening. The sun's truly set, the floodlights in full beam, and so was Surrey, posting an imposing total 218 for 5 from their 20 overs. And it's the first time we've seen at home this season that Middlesex have opted to bowl first. I wonder if that will come back to bite them. But in the past, when we, apart from maybe that 200 total we saw against Kent in that tie, you've seen scores around the 160, 140, and we thought going into the second innings, if Middlesex were going to win it, they might need to have a bowler that picked up the Knight Frank player of the match. But I have a feeling that if Middlesex are to win this one, it'll be a batter that takes it home.
Yeah, the batsmen are going to have to play well, aren't they? They're going to need a good start. Stevie Eskenazi and Max Holden have been excellent in this campaign so far. But it's funny you mentioned the Knight Frank player of the match. Izzy, just a reminder that we want you to get involved at home. Tweet us your thoughts on who should win that Knight Frank player of the match. Obviously, it's got to be a Middlesex player. I know you'd probably think at the moment that the Surrey players are slightly ahead, but watch this space because Middlesex have got a bat yet. But at Middlesex_CCC, or comment on our Facebook page at Middlesex Cricket using the hashtag KnightFrankPOTM, player of the match. So all set for this second half, Izzy, and who does hold the key for Middlesex, do you think? Is it Eskenazi? He's been the main man at the top.
Well, at the top of the order, Stevie Eskenazi and Max Holden have got the bulk of the runs and also gone at such a rate. We saw that opening day a century from Max Holden in the ultimately abandoned match down at Chelmsford at Essex, 102 not out, and then Stevie Eskenazi we've seen so consistent at the top of the order, and I think that's the danger really, is that whereas Surrey you can see there's a powerhouse in the middle of the order, Middlesex, if those two fall quickly, then it's a slightly inexperienced side coming through, the likes of Joe Cracknell coming in at 3, Jack Davies, Martin Anderson, very, very young indeed. John Simpson was the saviour in the previous match, 30 not out he got to really bolster the middle order. So it'll take a team effort, but you'd imagine that if Eskenazi or Holden are to go big, they're in with a good chance. And it's an important one. It's an important juncture here, round 7 of the Vitality T20 Blast. Middlesex find themselves at number 4 in the table. Surrey one above them. If Middlesex were to win, they might be in with a chance of edging Surrey out of third spot. And with Kent and Sussex going pretty well at the top, I think Middlesex really do need to win this if they're going to be any chance of making that quarter-final. Yeah,
Middlesex, of course, travel to Canterbury on Wednesday to play the table toppers at the moment. Kent had a thrashing of Hampshire today at the Ageas, so they're looking good. Sussex you mentioned, but yeah, if they can beat Surrey here tonight and then take Kent down on Wednesday, they're right in the mix. But I have to say, 219 is looking a long way off.
Well, we're lucky to be here at all, and that's in large part to Middlesex's club sponsors, whose support has been brilliant throughout the summer. Great commitment and great to have them with us. And yes, we'd like to say our thanks to them for getting cricket on at all. Welcome back to Lords, and we're just about to start the second innings of this Vitality T20 Blast, the London Derby between Middlesex and Surrey. Surrey are 1-0 up, having won the home leg about a week or so ago in easy fashion at the end. It was a low-scoring affair, but this one, if it's going to be a close one, it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I'm Isabel Westbury, Dave Fulton to my right. Surrey made 218 for 5. And well, I'd say we've got a game on our hands.
Izzy, we've got a game on our hands, but at the moment it is advantage Surrey. No question about that. Those runs on the board, you don't chase 18 down too often. But an opportunity, and I think these opening exchanges are going to be key. Stevie Eskenazi, Max Holden, they've been the standout batsmen for Middlesex in this year's campaign, and they're going to have a wily old campaigner in Reece Topley up against them.
Eskenazi off the mark straight away. How often have we seen that? Just guiding it down to third man. Yes, Eskenazi averaging just over 45, 273 runs in this campaign. Holden not far behind him. He's on 202. Also averaging 40. And it's a nice left-hand, right-hand combination. It's one that Middlesex perhaps weren't expecting this year. You think normally that top 4 slot is sort of A.B. de Villiers, David Milan in the past, Sterling, Morgan. These two youngsters having a go at it. Flash of the bat there from Holden. Not quite sure what he was intending to do there. He survives at least. He's top T20 specialist these days.
Yeah, it's a good story, isn't it, Reece Topley? Back from all kinds of back surgeries. I think he's had 3 of them. Had many counties, of course. Essex and Hampshire and Sussex, and now it's Surrey. We see that familiar move, almost Rory Burns-esque, of Holden's head.
Patted back at the bowler. Good speeds, lines length there from Reece Topley.
A little bit of swing, wasn't there? Last couple of deliveries. He'll try and get the ball to move away from the left-handed batsman through the air, use the slope to good effect.
Here he comes again. Another drive, another miss. I just wonder, Holden, so eager. I think that's the problem when you've got such an imposing total. You just need to get going.
Yeah, if you remember, there was a classical forward defensive, wasn't there, from Hashim Amla, kind of second or third ball to Tom Helm. Just recognised it as being a good delivery and went, yep, we got plenty of time. 120 balls, it seems like a crash-bang wallop kind of game, but you get a good one, you still got to keep it out. They're the rules of batting.
Oh, the top edge is going to fly over the keeper. Only just, though, as you run down to the boundary edge, and it's beaten 4 fielders converging on the ball. The ball's the winner. That was almost comical.
That was brilliant, wasn't it? I mean, a wholehearted effort from the Surrey keeper and slip, and I think was Amla going from short, fine leg, and third man was coming round. But yeah, he had just the right amount of pace on it, and it was kind of running away. Sometimes when you get those top edges and then onto the helmet, and he's just looking at his helmet now, Max Holden, so perhaps we have to have some sort of safety check because it did top edge onto the lid. But sometimes you get a little bit of top spin, and when it landed I thought perhaps it wasn't going to get there, but just ran away with a bit of top spin. Physio check this out, make sure all is okay and that Holden's helmet's fit to continue.
Well, folks knew straight away that he wasn't going to be in with a chance of a catch, so even almost as soon as the ball flew off the bat, he was running down to the boundary. It's a short one down there, and he had 4 different fielders. I think there was slip, there was the short fine leg, and then there was third man careering through from the boundary edge, all coming in danger of collision almost there.
Yeah, I guess at least they were all running in kind of the same direction. I was at Arundel for that horrible crash between Rory Burns and Moses Enriques, and yeah, that was very, very nasty. Game abandoned when they went head on to each other.
Tempted pull there from Holden, almost plays it onto his stumps. I think it's hit him in the chest, so he just had one on the helmet and he's got one on the chest now. He's getting a bit peppered, poor man.
Yeah, Reece Topley's not express, but he's just hitting that nagging back of a length, and you're right about the total, Izzy. When you're looking for 219 runs, you can't afford too many back foot defensives, so you try and very quickly essay the old pull shot to something that's not quite there, and Holden will have a souvenir in the morning. Oh, nice big shiny purple patch on one of his ribs.
Well, 5 off the first over then, they're going to need to double that that run rate if they're going to get anywhere near that total from Surrey, and it looks as though they're going to go and opt for Gareth Batty there.
I think it's Will Jacks.
Was it Will Jacks?
Yes,
Oh.
Will Jacks, not a bad game, is it? As a youngster, open the batting, open the bowling, be the main man in short form cricket. Quite often just hides an over early in the power play.
Spin to start. Prods it into the onside. Eskenazi through for a single again. Means Holden's going to have another go at this.
Tell you what though, Gareth Batty, he'll be flavour of the month with him. Will Jacks, 21 years of age. Gareth Batty, 42 years of age.
It's a long old way away.
Half Batty's age he is, and I know we're 150 yards away, but Gareth Batty, he doesn't look 21, is he? Let me tell you. None of us do anymore.
Holden advancing down the track. He really wants a piece of this, but he's not getting it so far. Thick inside edge, teams away to mid-wicket.
Yeah, well, he got a piece of it. He got a very small piece of it, not the piece he wanted. You're right. He's a bit scrappy at the moment, Max Holden. He's just got to settle into his work.
Jackson into Eskenazi, turns this onto the onside. Another single. I just wonder, so we talked about how Middlesex have favoured batting first, and it gives them that freedom. They've got nothing to chase, no total. The stage is theirs. And Holden, I mean, he's still a really young man. Only 22 years of age, is around the wicket, and a big heave into the onside. Does not connect at all. He's just trying too much. He wants to get to that run rate too quickly.
Yeah, it's clever bowling by Jacks, isn't it? He held that one back, bowled it slower, gave it a bit of a tweak. He just turned up the hill a fraction. And Holden hacking away at the moment.
Holden, 5 off 7. He turns that off his hips into the onside.
And that's where Stevie Eskenazi's got a role to play. You know, he's Bob Willis Trophy captain. He's the experienced man out there. You know, he doesn't have a lot of miles on the clock himself, Eskenazi, but he'll just tell his younger partner just to settle down. You know, Max, you're a good player. We know how quickly you can score. You'll catch the run rate up. Just get yourself in. You know, you throw your wicket away here and suddenly you're 10 for 1. Middlesex really are up against it.
Final ball of his second over. And Eskenazi again nudging it into the onside. They're going to come back for 2. They're thinking about it. Good fielding and a slip and slide in the outfield there. Be careful. That's where you pick up a strain of something. But he's recovered all right.
Yeah, good start this from Surrey. We saw with the bat, didn't we, after a couple of overs. They were going at 10s. They were 20 without loss. Middlesex half that. So they will have to put their foot down at some point, but you've also got to get yourself in.
Topley to continue from the pavilion end. No surprises there. Good opening over. Eskenazi 4 from 4. Advances down the track. Slapped into the onside. Flat as a pancake. Absolutely beautiful shot. Just raced away. Dismissive there from Eskenazi. Moves to 10. Middlesex 16 without loss.
Yeah, flew straight over the night Frank ball, didn't it? Like an absolute rocket, like a 2-iron. Low trajectory. I think it might be Jamie Overton standing in front of it. He's a tough man to get it over. He managed it.
Eskenazi once more trying to give himself room, moving into the onside, but this time can only manage inside edge down to Amla at short fine. So 7 off the first 2 deliveries here. And I'll give Holden some encouragement.
Yeah, it's important if the man at the other end is struggling. So Stevie Eskenazi just releasing a little bit of pressure, not just on himself, but a little bit on Holden as well. Just got the scoreboard ticking with a couple of boundaries. It can just allow Holden to chew a couple of balls.
Shouts of catch as it falls just short of the fielder. At backward point. It went hard, it went fast, but it was aerial for a little while. No chance of a catch in the end, but did well to parry it to stop the boundary. In fact, to stop any run at all.
Yeah, it was Laurie Evans just a couple of yards in front of him. He got Burns at backward point. Evans almost on square, so they're very close together. They know Holden likes that cover drive.
Topley to Holden. Plays it down to third man. Brings Eskenazi on strike. He's got 2 deliveries to face here. Over his Topley over. And what Middlesex won't want to do is, with Holden not quite timing, is just piling on that pressure to Eskenazi, where he suddenly thinks, oh, I need to do the bulk of the work here, because he's timing it beautifully, as he has done all tournament. He's got to trust himself. Back over the bowler's head. Well, he's trusted himself with that one, because that is a gorgeous looking straight drive down the ground for 6. Middlesex to 24, Eskenazi to 17. I'll tell you who isn't flustered. It's that man in the middle.
2 wonderful strokes from Stevie Eskenazi. That was the better of them because it was straighter. And Rhys Topley is not an easy man to put back over his head. Made a lovely sound off the willow, didn't it? Contrast Jamie Overton with those 6s he was hitting with a kind of horrible noise that was making. I mean, the ball went far enough. Make no mistake about that. But that was a lovely thump. And once again, it is a box of balls that has come out to the middle. The umpires, you can just see there in the back of your picture, just consulting. New balls, please. He's got a lot in that box. I'm having a little count up. I reckon from here I can spot about 15 balls in that box. So maybe that's a good sign for Middlesex. That's what they've got to play with. They can lose 14, and we've still got a game. Gareth Batty's he's an interested spectator alongside umpire Ben Debenham, maybe just picking one out that's trying to get the softest one he can find. He's a canny operator, the 42-year-old. He won't miss a trick.
Final ball of his 3rd over. Eskenazi, what can he do? Drives it down the ground, straight to extra cover. And it's a dot ball to end the over. 24 for no wicket. 3 overs gone.
So fine start from Stevie Eskenazi. He's 17 off 8. Max Holden's got a little bit catching up to do. 7 off 10, hasn't quite been at his fluent best. Top edge 4 over the keeper via his helmet. He's worn 1 in the ribs. But the good news is that when you're out there, you can do something about it. The trick is not to get too frustrated and then throw it away. You walk off with 7 from 11 or 12 and you're back in the hutch and that's your game done. You've got to find that balance between upping the run rate and staying in.
Holden on strike. Oh, that's got hold of that one. 8 or 9 rows back. Here's Atkinson to the fray. His first ball has been pummeled into the stands for 6. That's one way to get things back where you want them. Beautiful shot there from Holden. Middlesex moved to 30.
Yeah, and suddenly he's 13 from 11. He's in front of balls faced, and everything is looking that much rosier in his world. And that's the point I was making, really, and I'm sure that's what Stevie Eskenazi would have been saying to him. He's faced a few dots, but you catch it up pretty quickly here with that short tavern side boundary.
Atkinson in again, and the diving attempted catch there. Rory Burns through the air to his right. It was going at some pace. It would have been one hell of a catch, a cracking catch if he managed to hold on to it, but it just was too quick for him.
Well, I reckon that's a pretty good result from a Surrey perspective because Max Holden laced that through at Rory Burns and he was full stretch, goalkeeper style, and he saved 3 runs. I mean, yes, technically it's a drop catch, but
yeah,
they take some catching those. And he did well to parry it. Just putting one finger up. Maybe he's got one finger left after that. Looked like it stung a bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Atkinson to Eskenazi, gives himself room, plays it into the offside single. Out to backward point on the boundary.
And this is, I think, what Middlesex have got to do. If they're going to chase down 219, they've almost got to target a bowler. You know, someone like a Gareth Batty, wily campaigner. Daniel Moriarty's had a terrific campaign as well. So you think, maybe Atkinson, young seamer, nice pace to hit. Maybe he's the one who's got to go.
Doesn't get any bat on it, that one from Holden. Well, it's a brave thing to do. Atkinson's best figures in this format, 2 for 18 were in that match against Middlesex in the home fixture. So he's got good form against this side. But as you say, he's just a young man. He's gone his economy rate of just hovering under 9 in the format. So he's the one perhaps they've decided. Holden, big flash, misses that one. Back-to-back dots, that's useful. Sounds as though little cut there to Rory Burns's finger. I think he might get a dressing on it at some point. Support staff from Surrey around the outfield. Not surprised, really. The way in which he wore it. It's like change in the field. Backward points pushed out to the boundary. And it's a good change in the field because the ball has gone straight to him. Surrey just popped up Topley from third man down on the boundary, pushed out backward point. And it was a stroke of excellence from the Surrey captain, Gareth Batty, because it dismissed Holden and has brought Atkinson his first wicket.
Yeah, good bit of work from Gareth Batty. We talked about Owen Morgan earlier, didn't we? Pulling the strings, vastly experienced England captain and a vastly experienced Surrey captain. There's not much that Gareth Batty hasn't seen in the T20 Blast format. And he just knew exactly what he was doing there. He kind of sensed, sometimes you get a sense, an instinct as a captain that a batsman's looking to go big. And Holden had hit that 6 earlier in the over. He flashed at a couple outside off stump. And Atkinson did his bit, banged it in. And sure enough, he picked the man out on the fence that Batty had moved straight there. It was Jamie Smith. Holden's gone for 14. And now we have the debutant, Joe Cracknell. What can you do, young man? It's a tall order.
Yeah, it's indeed a stop-start innings there from Holden. Didn't really get going, then we saw him wallop one into the stands. I felt as though maybe he was just about gearing things up, just beginning. Wasn't to be. Eskenazi 18 from 9 at the other end, but it's Cracknell. It's going to be the man on strike to face the first ball of this 5th over. Middlesex 32 for 1, chasing 218. Jamie Overton into the attack. Cracknell just pushing it back at the bowler, trying to turn it onto the onside. Rose up on him pretty quickly. That's a bit of an introduction to proceedings. Hello, here's Jamie
Yes,
Overton.
Jamie Overton, who can bowl 90 plus mile an hour. Welcome to T20 cricket, young man. If he can get his side over the line, this will be a fine debut indeed. What a challenge ahead of him.
Past the outside edge, through to keeper. Too quick. Cracknell just walks away to square leg. Bit of gardening. Collects his thoughts.
Yeah, and Stevie Eskenazi once again just sauntering down. If Max Holden was a junior partner, then Joe Cracknell most certainly is. And Eskenazi probably just telling him, just don't worry about it. He got beaten all ends up by that one, and his body language already, his head was back, looking at the stars. You know, his body language is of a young man who's slightly nervous and slightly impatient at the moment.
Overton, back of a length. Shorter ball, Cracknell flays his bat at it. I feel as though Overton, every single time he comes down through his follow-through, right up in the batter's nose almost. He's an imposing figure. That's certain.
Yeah, and you can hear the Surrey fielders, can't you? Another dot here, another dot. Just trying to pile some pressure. Cracknell will be thinking hard. He's got a man who's bowling quickly. He's none from 3.
It's baton at this time, but straight at backward point. He's a shy at the non-striker's end, but Eskenazi had not left his crease, and so we've got 4 dot balls in a row. Testing time to Middlesex.
Yeah, just 20. Joe Cracknell, product of the Middlesex Academy. And this, a baptism of fire. 219 you've got to get. And you've got Jamie Overton roaring in at you.
Wow, that's one way to break the drought. 4 runs over mid-on. A composed looking shot there from Cracknell. Really well timed. Didn't have to move his feet all that much. But after having faced 4 dot balls, 20-year-old up against Jamie Overton, it's a very composed answer.
Yeah, he needed that. It was a bit fuller. It was in the slot. Still takes some doing. He had a man, Jamie Overton, over mid-on.
Final ball, 6 runs. My goodness me, he's got hold of that. It has hit the top of the scorer's board. Old Father Time almost in danger there. You talked about a few big sixes we've seen tonight already. That was the biggest of the lot, and it's come from 20-year-old Joe Cracknell against Jamie Overton. He faced 4 dot balls, then we've seen 4, 6, 10 off the over. That's got him going.
Cool, that'll make him feel a whole lot better. Old Father Time was ducking for cover, wasn't he? Just above the clock there. He just picked that one up sweet as you like. 2 cracking shots, none from 4. Pressure on his shoulders. Surrey fielders in his ears. And then suddenly, wallop 4, wallop 6, and all is right in his world again. He's 10 from 6, and he'll be feeling a damn sight better.
Yeah, 0 from 4 to 10 from 6. My goodness me.
So we're going to have a change of bowling. It's going to be World Jacks. Is it back into the attack? Still no Gareth Batty. He's bowling to Eskenazi. Turns into the leg side. I think I would be keen if I was Eskenazi to get Cracknell back on strike. He's obviously got some power. He's a strongly built young man. And it's like, you go and play your game, young man. You just try and ride the crest of a wave. 4-6. He's got a licence now. 4 balls to get your eye in, and away you go.
It's taking a while for me to get over that shot.
This time he's more watchful, just turning it into the leg side. A little bit of turn and bounce there from Jacks. This is a used pitch. Yeah, I mean, he hit it beautifully. I'm just pleased that he didn't crash it into the clock or knock Father Time off his perch. That would have been a slightly disappointing situation. As Jacks is in again, he's bowling to Eskenazi, who's cutting. The offside field is all up in the ring. They're going to try and pinch a single. Cracknell's going to have to hurry. I think he's okay. But that tested the old hamstrings. Eskenazi giving himself room because we're still in the power play, and Gareth Batty's got all his offside fielders in the ring. This field to me crying out for a reverse sweep. And the wicket just chipping into the gap. It's not a bad shot. Just a little pitching wedge, bit of spin, and take the single.
Yeah, hung up in the air for a little while. You just thought, oh dear. No fielders there though. Nice empty space. That's all right, just rotate the strike.
So change of field. Jacks is going to come round the wicket. Back goes long leg, up comes long on to mid on. There is the reverse sweep. At Batty's fielding, a backward point. No run. So 1 ball remaining of the power play. 46 for 1. Try and go past 50 here, Middlesex. Eskenazi will just take the single. I think about a second. They decide against. 47 for 1 at the end of 6. So bowling change. Jamie Overton smoked for that 4 and 6. Off the last 2 balls of his over, I'm going to turn to Daniel Moriarty. Really impressed with what I saw of him down at Canterbury, just 21 years of age. This just his 7th match, averaging 15, an economy of 6.5. 3 for 25 he took at the Spitfire ground. Really good economy and accuracy, gives it a tweak. He's bowling from the pavilion end, just pulled out by Eskenazi to deep mid-wicket where Overton fields.
I want to watch that replay of that 6 again. I just want to watch it on a loop.
I presume the Middlesex social media feed will have highlights a little bit later, will they? Tomorrow morning, I'm being told, as Cracknell cuts into the offside. So if you want to see that 6 again, there might be an opportunity to take it back on the stream. I don't know the technology, but certainly tomorrow that 6 might feature prominently on Middlesex's social media feeds. That's Moriarty to Eskenazi, who's cutting, and Cracknell has to hurry here. He's diving, but he gets in. So Middlesex 50 is up in the 7th over. Just need to get a little bit of a shift on. 50 off 39. I think Surrey were 50 off 32. Smoking that into the leg side is Joe Cracknell. Once again, it's a single, and singles don't hurt Surrey.
Dave, I think you're being sledged by the BBC commentary box.
What's happening? Because I've got my Middlesex hat on.
Yeah, Kevin Hand is...
Oh, that's good from Eskenazi. That's a maximum. He's been in fine touch in this T20 Blast campaign, and he just stretched out for that one, swept it square on the leg side. And that is another 6, and that is what Middlesex need. If they're going to chase this target of 219 down, they're going to need plenty of those. Eskenazi turning into the leg side. Cracknell's hurrying. Eskenazi just ambling down. He knows that that's not a 2. So that concludes the Moriarty over. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what Joe Cracknell can do. There is redevelopment work going on all over Lords at the moment. I don't think that was the intended area for that redevelopment, but someone, a bit of polyfiller, smooth that over. Cracknell doing damage on Blast debut. There you go.
I feel like you should give him sort of a chunk of it as a souvenir. I'm sure they used to do that with the Berlin Wall. People would go and get chunks of it. I think he deserves a chunk of the score box.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it had bounced off Father Time or the clock, then that would have been a suitable souvenir. But Berlin Wall, that's not. Eskenazi continuing just to knock those singles into the onside. And Jax fields off his own bowling. I think that's Jax. Not going to make the same mistake and call him Gareth Batty. But still persevering with his off-spin. Cracknell was sweeping. He's going to get a single for it. Tough to come back for 2 when you start from the running position of down on one knee. Interesting, Batty hasn't opted for himself. We're past the power play into the 8th over. This would be fascinating to see how Stevie Eskenazi paces this run chase. He's on to 32 of just 19 deliveries. He's content to pick the singles up when they're on offer, which is what I like. I think how Max Holden was kind of thrashing at air a little bit, getting it a touch impatient. Eskenazi taking what's on offer. Cracknell was trying to sweep, gets right across outside off stump. He might get a couple here by virtue of the fact it's 39-year-old Hashim Amla. Actually, I might be doing him a disservice there. Hashim Amla's only 37. It was Batty who was 39. No, it wasn't.
Batty's 42.
But Batty's 42. It was Murtagh who was 39. There's a few old ones in this game.
Vintage.
They're still whippersnappers compared to me, is he? But the Amla fielding there, so they get back for 2 quite comfortably. Leg buys. Good bit of bowling that from Jack, slower and wider. Cracknell can only pick out Gareth Batty dot ball.
I wonder if they just think, see where we are at halfway mark.
Dangerous ploy. This is a sweep that's nailed in the gap, but round comes Reece Topley, and they only get the single. So a good-looking shot from Joe Cracknell once again. He's finding the middle of the bat, but Surrey have their fielders in the right place. 64 for 1 after 8. So just a little bit behind the rate at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think you kind of look where you're at 10 overs, but you can't afford to just dawdle on your way to the halfway point.
No.
You've got to keep pushing, but I think you're right. At 10 overs, you'll know what the equation is. You know, what's possible off 10, maybe 110, 120 even.
Yeah, it must have been to the halfway mark. It must have been, right, let's see if we can just keep within touching distance. You know, we might not be at the rate, but let's make sure we give ourselves a chance.
Moriarty smoking it to the leg side is Cracknell. A little bit of a slog this one. He didn't get all of it. He's going to pick up a single. Yeah, I think what you can do in a chase of 219, you go too hard too early, you find yourself 3 or 4 down, you're out, this game's gone. And Middlesex haven't made that mistake. Moriarty is in. Eskenazi once again taking the single on offer.
And that's kind of what you feel is the difference between the Holden versus Eskenazi approach. Holden was just almost thinking, I've got to go from the off. Whereas Eskenazi's been quite content to time it, to turn it, to rotate the strike, but he's still there.
Cracknell goes again, trying to wreak his own particular brand of havoc into the leg side. We've already seen him damage the buildings. He was trying again there, but a bit of a bottom edge. Yeah, it could have been a case of, Eskenazi said, I'll knock it around, Max, you go for the big shots. It didn't quite work out for Holden. Wide outside leg stump. Moriarty perhaps thinking that Eskenazi was advancing, threw it wide into the neat gloves of Ben Folkes. Always makes keeping look so effortless. Shorter for Moriarty, and this, it's going to be 6. Another maximum from Eskenazi. He's got all his 6s over that short leg side, tavern side boundary. One off Reece Topley flew. And that one, I think, is that his 4th 6? He did hit one straight, didn't he, off Topley down the ground, I think.
Yep, his 4th 6 indeed. It was taunting almost, wasn't it? Just evaded the fielders there in between square leg and mid wicket.
2 balls left of the 9th over. Eskenazi sweeping, top edges it into his grill. I don't think they'll check the helmet for this one. They do like to be extra careful. Eskenazi kind of running towards the pavilion. Do I need to get it checked, he says, to umpire Ben Debenham. I think they might be calling. No, they're telling him to stay, I think. He's okay. But yeah, a little top edge into the grill. I think they worry more about when it hits the helmet on the shell that it doesn't do too much damage, but I think the grill's okay. Brings Cracknell back onto strike, so Middlesex.
Oh, I think they've asked
No,
for it.
they're going to have to do it. This is the protocols. If we haven't got COVID protocols, we've got concussion protocols and helmet protocols.
It's a dangerous game.
Yeah, so the physio's going to run on. My guess is he's going to look at the helmet and then he's going to hand it back to Eskenazi and say it's okay to carry on. But he hasn't brought a spare one out with him. Have a look. Looks all right to me. There we go. Carry on. Got to be done. It does smack slightly of going through the motions.
Don't think Eskenazi was
He wasn't too worried, was he?
too worried about it.
Here we go, last ball of the 9th over. Cracknell back on strike and he's cutting, trying to get it through that gap. Good bit of fielding once again. Surrey, I think at the moment, difference between the two sides possibly just in the field. Surrey shading it. Middlesex going along nicely. 76 for 1 after 9.
So, lots to do then for Middlesex. 9 overs gone. 76 for 1, chasing 218 for 5.
Here he comes. The 57-year-old Gareth Batty. Sorry, 42-year-old Gareth Batty. I don't know, it's difficult to tell from here, but he spent a lot of time out in the sun. He's bowling from the Surrey end. A reverse sweep by Cracknell. That is no way to treat a 42-year-old experienced Gareth Batty. Just turns himself round, flicks it behind square. Another boundary to the increasingly impressive Joe Cracknell. He's on to 23. Middlesex 80 for 1 now.
A very composed shot there from Cracknell. Right in the gap.
Sweeping again, this time lapping. Gets it fine. Amla with the throw, but comfortable single. Eskenazi jogging through.
I forgot what a prolific appealer Batty is. Every ball you feel as though is almost a wicket. Something's happening.
Turn into the leg side. Eskenazi wants to. They might get the no. Good decision, I think, from Cracknell. Just trying to see who that is herring in. I think it's Jamie Smith, is it? I can't quite see from here, but out on the leg side boundary.
I net quite often on a Wednesday evening with a bunch of boys down at Southwark, and Felix White, people tune into the BBC Tailenders podcast, it's one of the hosts.
Batty smoked back. Cracknell once again hitting that hard, hitting it straight. Bisects the fielders long on, long off. He's going to get another boundary. 20-80 is now, 86 for 1. Sorry, is he?
Felix White is a Gareth Batty mould kind of appealer. Every single ball he thinks, it will tell you that he was almost there. That's sort of a reaction after every single ball.
Oh, no need to appeal for that one. I think that has castled him. You don't hit Gareth Batty for 2 fours and get away with it on debut. He's Surrey captain has answered him in style, and now he's having a word with Stevie Eskenazi. Still as combative as ever. Cracknell is on his way for 28. He's played a fine hand, a real cameo from the debutant. But that is a big scalp because it looks like he hits a long ball. He has gone. And Middlesex at 86 for 2.
Eskenazi has had a few words with Batty there. I just wonder if he said something as he left the field. Maybe he felt that it was uncalled for against the youngster, but who knows? We don't know what happened out there. But a few words certainly between the two teams. That happens at the heat of the moment.
Yeah, well, my instinct is that Gareth Batty wouldn't have liked the youngster smacking him impotently for 4 with the reverse sweep and then the straight drive, and then of course to get him out next ball, knowing Batty, as most of us do, combative, might have given him a little exuberant send off, and Eskenazi wouldn't have enjoyed that. So that's my reading of it from 150 yards away, and it's my best guess, Izzy.
Well, for somebody, I mean, that's what keeps him going, isn't it? For somebody that's been in the game for such a long time, you need to have that ultra competitive streak, and I'd say that Batty has it in huge swathes. Still very competitive, very talented, of course. Campaigner.
So John Simpson, the new batsman, that is an indication of what Middlesex are thinking. He just turns into the offside, but Eskenazi sends him back. The fact they're putting Simpson in now suggests that they know this is a tall order. He is their most dangerous striker, probably from here on in. So they're getting him in with plenty of balls. They're not going to waste him.
Yeah, well, he came in. It was his knock of 30 not out against Hampshire that really brought Middlesex to a competitive total and a winning total in the end. 30 not out of 19 balls. He scored earlier in the season 46 off 31 against Sussex. Strike rate in the format of 129. He's somebody with just a little bit more experience in a difficult situation that can keep that run rate going, but also not sort of feel the pressure too much that perhaps some of the other youngsters with such an imposing total, that run rate, required run rate, over 13 per over now. You feel that if Simpson's the one to pull them out of this, it's just him, as this is flung, reached for, wide outside off stump, wide and full. Eskenazi really having to reach far into the offside. Overton not happy with his field placing. He's bringing up third man. Or are they doing a swap? No, he's doing a swap. He knows who he wants in each position.
Yeah, it's never nice. Never nice when the ball goes past you and the captain or the bowler swaps you out of that position.
Yeah, very particular. Here he comes again. Big thrash of the bat. Missed it. That was wide outside off.
Yeah, interesting tactic. We saw Middlesex go wide outside off to Hashim Amla, but they did so with 2 leg side fielders in the power play, so there was no one back. But I think this is quite a good tactic because that leg side boundary is short. Eskenazi's targeted it 3 times now, 3 maximums over that square leg fence, 1 over long on. Just think if they can keep wide outside off stump. And yeah, he might slice it backward of square for 4, but it's going to be tough to hit 6s.
Overton again wide, a bit shorter this time. Eskenazi rises onto his toes, cuts it through the covers. Single out to the man at cover point. Lots of work to do for Middlesex. 89 for 2, chasing 218. 130 runs to win, 57 balls left to do it in. That's a task.
Yeah, it's a really tough ask, isn't it? You said get to halfway and see where you're at. Well, they're probably behind where they'd want to be. They're not out of it by any means. They'd probably like to be around about 100.
Overton to Simpson off the mark. Oh, they should have come back for 2. I think Simpson wanted it, but Eskenazi was slightly slow out of his crease. And again, we talked about the difference between these two sides, that fielding element. Middlesex are sloppy, a little bit careless perhaps in the field. Surrey have been right on the money.
Yeah, 218 could have been kind of 2.5, couldn't it? 2.5, 2.10. There was certainly 3 or 4 misfields that were costly.
Overton to Eskenazi. Pulls this into the onside. Is there going to be a man underneath it? My goodness, what an effort that was. Flying through the air, diving to his left. He couldn't make it, so he doesn't get the catch. He hits a 6 instead, and it means that Eskenazi, instead of being out, has brought up his 50.
Yeah, yet another 50 for Stevie Eskenazi in this 2020 Blast campaign. He's 4th. What an effort, though, from Rory Burns. We've seen him in the slips for England, haven't we? He's a fine fielder, diving away, but he flung himself to his left. He was horizontal, flicked off his hand and onto the boundary rope for a maximum for Eskenazi. So he's standing here, Stevie Eskenazi. He's outside off stump. He knows that Overton wants to bowl wide to him.
Overton full, thrashes it into the offside, straight to backward point. Eskenazi's 50 brought up inside 27 balls, 5 6s. Very neat return. They'll need to carry on if Middlesex are going to get anywhere near this total. 96 for 2. They need another 123 runs from the next 9 overs.
Yeah, you think these two are key, Izzy. You think Eskenazi, you're quite right. If they're going to have any aspirations at all of chasing down such a large target, you think he's got to probably go through to 100. And Simpson's got to play a fine hand too. This left-right combination key.
Batty into Simpson, pushing off his back foot. Single out to backward point.
Gareth Batty, he's going to bowl quick. He's going to bowl into the pitch. He's going to bowl pretty straight here, I would think.
Full. Eskenazi turns it into the onside. Batty fielding off his own bowling. Just get the feeling there's a sort of implicit nod between the two Middlesex batters. They know it's going to have to be those two that get the bulk of these runs. Big thrash of the bat by Eskenazi. Or Simpson has got his first 6. Out to cow corner, the left-hander has timed that beautifully, placed it beautifully. As a man out at long on, man out at mid-wicket. He's plopped it between the two, just over the boundary rope. 6 more, 104 for 2. Batty again, straight away. Almost the identical delivery, identical shot. Consecutive 6s to Simpson. He moves to 14, 110 for 2.
Well, it's poor bowling from Gareth Batty, you have to say. He's vastly experienced. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to bowl it hard into the pitch, try and skid it through. He doesn't want to bowl it floaty, so he gets swept over there.
This one's pushed into the offside. Dot ball.
Batty just feeling his hamstring. You just wonder whether these 42 years just catching up with him. Ooh. He's going over that, stretching that left hamstring as an off spinner. You go up and over that front leg, just clutching at the back of it. You just feel sometimes when you get into your late 30s and 40s, Every now and again there's a game, there's a bowling innings, it might be just one too far. And Batty looks in some discomfort. He won't want to give up though, especially having been doinked for 2 sixes. He'll want to fight back. That's his nature.
One more ball left of this 12th over. Here he comes. No, he's pulled out. He can't. He really wanted it. He really wanted to carry on. But I don't know if it's his hamstring or calf muscle.
He's going to try. He's going to try one more time, I think. This is a big moment in this match because he's also the captain, remember. He pulls the strings out there. They've got other options, of course. Rory Burns is captain the championship side. Led Surrey to championship success. Ben Folkes could do it.
Batty is going to try and bowl it. He does. He darts it back down and it's a dot ball. What an effort from the Surrey skipper. But you'd have thought that that's going to be the last that we see of Gareth Batty tonight. And it means that after 12 overs, Middlesex are 110 for 2.
So that's Gareth Batty. Looks like he's going to wander off the field, is he? He's reversing, he's jogging off, but yeah, you can tell by the way he's limping. That is a left hamstring. He was stretching it. It's unlike him to bowl 2 long hops, so perhaps he was hampered by that hamstring all along. But that's going to be the end of his evening. Interesting to see who pulls the strings. Interesting to see how that will affect Surrey morale. For Batty's sake and Surrey's sake, I hope that's not how he bows out and finishes his career.
Eskenazi on strike, Overton towards him. Shouts of catches, sailing, flying through the air at backward appointment. I'll get 4 for it. We've had a few boundaries, couple of 6s in the previous over, a 4 now, and you just feel, even though that required run rate is up there, above 13 runs and over, that with Eskenazi in, seeing them like this and support from Simpson at the other end, Middlesex, might they just?
Yeah, momentum just changing a bit in this match, is he? You're quite right. I think Batty hobbling off, almost symbolic at the changing tide of this match. What can Overton do about it? Short and wide, he's been punished.
Eskenazi, 55 not out. Fuller, flayed over backward point. 1 bounce, 4. This is the form that we've seen Eskenazi in the whole way through this tournament. He's had a cracking time of it so far. Top of the Middlesex averages. Top of the Middlesex strike rate pretty much. I mean, Holden's at 150, Eskenazi at 149s. And this one is an important knock from the red ball skipper.
Yeah, and I wonder with the confidence of Jamie Overton, big money move to Surrey. He's only bowled 5 overs in this competition, no wickets for 63. That's an economy rate of 12.6. So we talked, didn't we, about Martin Anderson not having bowled much and his economy rate. Well, ditto that for Jamie Overton.
Makes room for himself, Eskenazi, moves really wide into the offside. And it's a full one. He guides down to third man. Moves to 60, 119 for 2.
Of course, what Jamie Overton has got is express pace. And sometimes that can work against you as a bowler in this format. You see the way Eskenazi just opened the blade, used the pace of Overton, going to get it backward of point. The last 3 balls have all gone down in that direction. A couple of boundaries and a single. What has Overton got by way of change-up? I haven't seen too much other than the quick one.
Incredible as well to think that his first 4 deliveries were dot balls. Before we saw that massive 6 from Joe Cracknell, as this one's banged hard into the turf. Simpson gets on top of it. Doesn't time it. Mid-wicket racing in from the boundary. Single to the total.
This is where the left-right combination is key, because Eskenazi, if he gets that delivery, that short one, that banged-in ball, he's got the leg side boundary, the short tavern side boundary, he can just swivel on it, pull it for 6. Simpson, facing the spinner from the far end, can target the short boundary by virtue of being left-handed. So this is a key partnership. Good move from Stuart Law and the brains, throwing Simpson into the mix.
Eskenazi waits, leaves it. Don't see that often. I wonder, was he angling for a wide? It wasn't that wide.
No, he's just got it all under control. He just can leave. He can leave the odd delivery. We've gone along quite nicely last few balls. I think he overthought it. He was walking outside off stump to start with, which he's done a couple of times. He's saying to Overton, I know you're trying to bowl wide. I'm going to come across to make it into a straighter ball that I can pick up on that leg side. So he walked out outside the off stump, then he walked back, and then he rather confused himself and left it.
Yeah, maybe
and chuckled
right.
as well as it went past.
Or I'll go with the MS Dhoni theory of just, I'll leave a few balls and I'll smash it to smithereens. Eskinazi, this one he does get hold of, and this is careered into the offside. 3 or 4 rows back in the grandstand. That's a beautiful looking shot. Goes the distance. He's now scored 6 sixes this evening, 126 for 2.
Well, you can pay him no greater compliment, can you, than MS Dhoni-esque. Because it was the
as well, isn't it? They just stand there, dot, 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 dot,
yeah,
and
because they
then
know
they explode.
They know they can hit the sixes, and Eskinazi's in that kind of form. He's hit a bucket load of them. 6 of them now for Eskinazi. 2 fours, 6 sixes in his 66. Which is tough to say, actually. 6 sixes in his 66.
Well, there's the equation. 93 from 42. They've got 8 wickets left. Eskinazi's in on 66. Simpson there at the other end on 15. He's on strike now. And this one he's pushed into the offside. And my goodness, I say he's pushed it. It's a 1 bounce 4, wide of long off. That was such a weird shot. I just thought it hung in the air. It might plug, fall in front of the fielder, but it went all the way down to the boundary edge.
It's the power of John Simpson. He's not a big man. He's wiry, strong, isn't he? He's just like a guy that would bench press more than you'd think in the gym. Just timed it over extra cover.
Jacks. Down to Simpson. Plugs it to long on. So we've seen Gareth Batty have to retire from the field with a crooked hamstring. And he's got his younger model in to replace him.
Yes, half his age, 21 years of age. He's been the standout bowler so far, Will Jacks. First 3 overs costing just 14 runs.
Eskinazi pushing this into the onside. They're looking at 2, but fielder does well to charge in from the boundary at mid-wicket. Stops them coming back for another.
Topley at 9.5s. Jacks at just over 4.5s at the start of this over. And then Batty and Overton at 12s. Moriarty 11.5s.
Jacks full, and there's a stumping appeal. It's a wide ball. Simpson had a big stride, flayed at the ball, but that's all right for Middlesex. Don't mind that one.
It's cat and mouse, isn't it? Jacks going wide outside the off stump, bowling it slowly, trying to entice the slog sweep from Simpson. You try and slog sweep a ball that wide, you put it straight up in the air if you get anything of it.
Comes again, dart-like delivery. Pushes Simpson onto his toes, thinking of 2. Big call from Eskinazi, stops him coming back. 2 balls left of this 14th over. Eskinazi waits. Carves it into the offside, back at a point. Man on the boundary, gets it in. Single for Middlesex. Still an ominous looking run rate. Just under 14 per over required. They're batting well, but they need to carry this through.
Trying to see who's captaining out there. Is it Burns? Is it Folkes?
I thought it was Burns.
Burns has moved himself, or has been moved into the ring. So perhaps that's an indication that it is Rory Burns.
Final ball of this Jack spell. It's a dot ball. That's a good way to end it for the Surrey man. He ends his 4 overs, 23 off them. No wickets, but that's not a bad return at all in this high-scoring match.
Yeah, it's a potential man of the match performance, isn't it? From Will Jacks. Quick fire, 55 with the bat. Decent performance with the ball. Just a reminder to keep your votes coming in and your thoughts coming in at Middlesex_CCC for the Knight Frank player of the match. Stevie Eskinazi could be on course. Perhaps some late order fireworks from someone who's yet to come in to get Middlesex over the line. And John Simpson also in contention at the moment. But tell us what you think of the stream of Middlesex's campaign so far and this match we're seeing tonight. We'd love to have you with us, but in your absence in the flesh, do get in touch.
Just had a word that Matt Joe Cracknell's 6 that was hit onto the top of the scorer's box is on social media. So if you're on Twitter, Facebook, go and have a look at it. It's a sight to behold.
Just looking at where Stevie Eskenazi's standing here, he is moving around this crease. But at times, as the bowler's about to run in, he's standing almost a foot outside off stump, and then he kind of wanders back in line. So the plan here is going to be wide outside off stump, you'd think, from Reece Topley. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of sweep.
Here he comes, 15th over. Slow at delivery. Really well contained there from Topley. Eskenazi almost following the ball round, but it brings up the 50 partnership. 27 balls, Eskenazi 21 of them, Simpson 28. That's what they needed, that's what they still need. Something like that to come again. Run rate very much now up at the 14s, 14.2 per over. Topley, top of his mark, certainly in conversation with what we think is a stand-in captain, Rory Burns. He goes out to long on. Left-handed Simpson on strike. Full toss. Pushed into the onside, coming back for 2. It's a minimum, really, for Middlesex. Simpson to 23, 138 for 2. Topley, floodlights blaring down. Short ball, shouts of catch, lands short. Didn't get hold of that one, Simpson.
Yeah, good over this from Topley, isn't it? Showing all his experience. Keeping the ball away from that leg side when Eskenazi's on strike and bowling nice and straight to Simpson. When the lefty faces up. Bowling to his field, bowling to a plan. Middlesex need a boundary.
Round the wicket, full. Carved into the offside Eskenazi. There's a man out at backward point. And he's done a really good job out there. Not only saved a boundary, but stopped them coming back for 2. Eskenazi to 70, 140 for 2. Run rate, required run rate creeping up.
It's tough to stay patient, isn't it? But you've still got to accept that Reece Topley might not be the man that you get the big over from.
Full again, well bowled. Simpson digs it out. Out to Burns at long on. Another 1 to the total. This is really good bowling from Topley.
We can't afford here is a wicket. There's going to be other bowlers that have to come back into the fold. Atkinson or a Moriarty. And maybe they're the ones that you've got to take down.
Final ball of this 15th. And Topley aborts. Pulls out of his run-up. And my goodness, I'm just looking at Eskenazi. He stood about 3 stumps outside off stump.
Yeah, he wants to get this one away, doesn't he? He wants that length ball that he can flick into the leg side. He's got fine leg up, he's got square leg up. So if he can get a straight ball that he can flick over the leg side for 4 or 6, that's what he's looking for. Topley knows that.
Final ball then, and this one he thrashes into the onside. That's going to be 4. Flat batted swat towards cow corner. In control. And that's why we've seen him time and time again move across to the off stump. And it means that after 15 overs, Middlesex are 145 for 2. Middlesex going well. Eskenazi in on 74, Simpson on 25. But they need to carry that on because they're going to need to get another 74 runs in the next 5 overs, so 30 balls to do it in. Run rate required of just under 15 per over. It's a steep ask. But this is the partnership that can do it for Middlesex if they're going to get there. Has to be these two, really.
And this could be the key matchup from a Middlesex perspective. Simpson trying to take down the left arm spinner Moriarty. You'd think he'd want to go wide outside off stump. This could pick out long off. It's gone for 6. What a shot from John Simpson. It's about 300 yards away from where we're watching this game. And when he hit it, it looked like it was straight down his throat. And that is why you go to the gym in the winter, because that is the difference between 6 and out. And that could be the difference between Middlesex winning this game and not. Looked like it was going to go straight down his throat, and it crept over. Not a good looking shot from Simpson, but he picks out extra cover. Rory Burns. Good bowling for Moriarty. Simpson will just want to be able to get under this to the leg side, to that short boundary. This time it's up, and this will be out. Taken at backward point. That is the end of John Simpson. Might that be the end of the match? Well, there's Eskenazi there. There's hope for Middlesex, but that is a big wicket from a Surrey perspective. Simpson goes for a very fine 31. And Middlesex are 151 for 3. Well bowled, Daniel Moriarty.
Yeah, well bowled indeed. Just when you thought Middlesex were creeping back in it, you saw the cameras pan to the players on the bench, to Stuart Law, the head coach. There's a little bit of hope, a flicker of that. You feel that remains so long as Eskenazi's at the crease, but his ally there in Simpson means that it's going to be the young guns that have to do it alongside him. Davies then to the crease. Young Jack Davies, 20 years of age.
Well, it was a ballsy bowling change, wasn't it? Moriarty, left arm spin to the left-handed batsman with the short leg side boundary. But he got it full, he got it wide. And he got his man. Eskenazi once again tipping into the leg side. Davies looks quick. Doesn't want the 2 though. So Smith out there, I think. Was it Atkinson? Yeah, really quick field. Really quick in the field, sorry. I guess that's the only thing with Gareth Batty going off. You get a young whippersnapper on. So left-handed Davies into the leg side will pick up a single. But this is turning out to be a very good over for Surrey. There's a 6 off the first ball. And he's bounced back in style. Well bowled, Daniel Moriarty. Stevie Eskenazi just flips the bat. He knows that was not his best effort off the last ball, just trying to turn it into the leg side. What I like about Eskenazi and the way he's paced this innings is he just kind of hits himself in the grill, just trying to get himself going.
G himself up.
Yeah, trying to G himself up. But what he hasn't done, he hasn't thrown it away. All the while he's there, they're a chance. They're not a big chance, but they're a chance. He gets out, the game's well and truly gone. So he has to find that balance. And I think he will be looking to take down Jamie Overton. He's done it before, he did it earlier in the piece. And Davis's job from this end is to get Eskenazi back on strike. So here he comes, the big fast bowler who's recently moved from Somerset. And Davies does just that, turns it into the leg side. He's scampering. They settle for the single. Great bit of work from Ben Folkes. That's what Middlesex need. They need Eskenazi facing Overton.
Yeah, a moment of hesitation there. Thinking about coming back for the 2, but actually this could be quite a good result, having Eskenazi there. Overton got hit for 36 of his first 3. So going at quite some rate, and Eskenazi especially took a liking to him.
Yeah, they've taken him for 12s. They're going to need to take him for more than that. The required rate is edging up towards 17. So you think the time is now. Eskenazi will be targeting the leg side. Look at the field. There's a deep backward point, a deep point, and a third man. This is going to be wide outside his off stump. Stay away from that leg side boundary. Eskenazi cuts. Picks out one of those 3 fielders on the offside. Good bit of bowling and some good field placing, we think, by Rory Burns, who seems to be pulling the strings out there.
Yeah, just saw Eskenazi running through, tilt his head to the heavens. Frustration there. He knows that it's going to have to go and much more than run a ball. About 3 a ball really now.
Well, the advantage for a batsman when you get a field like that is you know where the ball's going to be. You know it's going to be wide outside off stump. It's one thing knowing where it's going to bounce or pitch. Is do something about it. Davis flicking into the leg side. That went quickly. It's just going to be another single. And with every single, so the rate climbs.
Does indeed. 63 required to win. 21 balls to do it. Slipping away here for the home side. Got 7 wickets in hand. Eskenazi at the crease. Doable, yes. Likely. Less and less.
Well bowled, Jamie Overton. They're going to get another single. Eskenazi getting right across outside off stump. Desperate to target that leg side. Overton got it in the block hole. And the 4th single from this over. And the rate continues to climb.
Yeah, that's such a good piece of bowling. You think we saw the 6th at the beginning of that Moriarty over, and then it's been dot wicket, 2 runs. 2 further runs in that over against him, and then 3 singles so far. It's changed a lot since then.
Can Davis help Eskenazi out? Turns it into the leg side. It's going to be the 5th single of the over. It's a very good one from a Surrey perspective. Jamie Overton.
Six runs off the last 9 deliveries. It's exactly what Surrey wanted, Middlesex didn't. It's almost up there at having to score at 20 runs per over. Oh dear.
This has got to go over the rope. And it doesn't. Overton picks up, throws. If it hits, he's gone, and Eskenazi is gone. Great bit of work from Jamie Overton. Completes a fine over, and Eskenazi drops his bat. And does he drop the game for Middlesex? He's played a fine hand, 77 from 43 deliveries. Terrific innings from him. But with his dismissal, the game looks like it might be up for Middlesex.
Yeah, what a reply there from Overton. We said first 3 overs went for 36. That final one going for just 5, and with the run out as well. Eskenazi, well applauded off the field by Middlesex teammates. Sorry, support staff alike. It's been a joy to watch. But you feel for Middlesex, now that he's gone, it's just too much of an ask for the youngsters there at the crease. Looks like it's Martin Anderson walking out. A lot of potential, a lot of firepower.
Yeah, a word for Jamie Overton as well. That was a fine over when his team needed it most. You know, he hasn't been in the best of bowling form. He's made the big move from Somerset to Surrey, all kinds of pressure, and he's getting smoked around the home of cricket by Eskenazi and co. And when his team needed him, he stepped up, and he's a big man, got down and ran him out. So Moriarty continues. He's going to be bowling to Anderson, the new batsman, pushes to extra cover. Rory Burns content to let him have a single. So just when they needed to, Surrey have tightened the noose. And Davies, well, he's got his short leg side boundary. That's what he's going to have to hope for. Targets that leg side. It's in the gap. He's only going to get a couple for it. It was a good-looking shot. As the fielder slips on the deep mid-wicket fence.
Yeah, it just plugged, didn't it? Not quite got the firepower.
Tries the reverse sweep. Just a hint of desperation for Middlesex at the moment. Tough ask for the most experienced of campaigners, and you've got a couple of young fellas out there in the middle at the moment. Wouldn't have seen this too many times. That could work. A little inside edge. Amla's after it. They're going to get at least 2. Flicks it back. Reece Topley completes the fielding. That has been a point of difference this evening. Surrey have been sharp in the field. Middlesex not quite at their best. Not sure it'd be the difference of 20 or 30 runs, mind. Davis goes aerial. He's just going to pick out long off, and that is another wicket, and these wickets are going to come thick and fast now as Middlesex throw the long handle, attempting the impossible. Bad luck, Jack Davis. Had no option really. 4s and 6s are the only way for Middlesex to prosper, and he's on his way. He's gone for 8, and this game, Izzy Westbury, I think might be up.
Yeah, well, Moriarty as well. You felt as though that was the sort of the real, the turning point when he hit. It was Simpson who hit that 6 off his first ball of his 3rd over, just about cleared the boundary long off, and you thought, right, Middlesex have a chance here. You've got Simpson in. You can time shots like that. You've got Eskenazi going great guns at the other end, but then since that 6, we saw Simpson fall 2 balls later, and then all Middlesex have managed to do is dot singles and a 2 here and there. No boundary since.
Moriarty in again. Anderson once again picks out Burns an extra cover, just the single. And that completes the 18th over. 164 for 5.
I think it's doing a disservice to Surrey's total to say that that was the turning point, but certainly that was the point in which perhaps any hope slipped from Middlesex's grasp. Oh well. Now we're going to see Topley. Reece Topley has bowled 3 overs, gone for 29 runs. Wonder if Anderson can have a bit of fun at least at the crease.
Yeah, these are difficult times as a batsman when you pretty much know the game's up. I've been there myself at the end of an innings when you know you haven't quite got the firepower to get your team over the line, and you've got to try your best. Middlesex know this is now on a lost cause. Martin Anderson, can he find the fence? Full ball from Topley. He just knocks it into the offside. Going to get a single. I guess there are some positives though. You know, Middlesex will take to that game at Canterbury on Wednesday. 3 away matches. This is the last game at Lord's, and if they can win those 3, then they have still a chance of progressing from the South Group. And there have been some positives. Young players have acquitted themselves well. Tremendous batting from Eskenazi, Simpson, the emergence of Joe Cracknell on debut. So it's not all doom and gloom as Middlesex try out these young players. But they run into Surrey, a good Surrey side tonight. Topley bowling. Holman, the new batsman. Once again, just a single. And you can see how difficult it is to start. You know, Eskenazi was in, he was going well, he was timing the ball. But when you have to walk out in these situations and face the likes of Overton and Topley and the canny spinner in Moriarty, and you're a tail ender or middle order player, not easy. Anderson swings leg side, doesn't get all of it. That'll be the single. Jacks does the fielding. I guess the only other thing to play for at the moment is the old net run rate. We're not quite sure whether that could be a factor. The top 2 from each of the 3 groups will qualify, and then the best 2 third-place sides. And you could imagine there being, you know, level on points and possibly level on wins somewhere along the line. So the closer you can get, the better your net run rate will be. It's Topley into Holman, slices away on the offside. Once again, it's just going to be the single.
Good bowling here from Topley. And just having a look at that table, the South Group table. One thing you can say of Middlesex, if they're going to make it into the quarterfinals, they've got to do it by beating the table toppers, Kent, Sussex as well.
Anderson chips over extra cover. Can I get a couple this time? Holman will scurry back. 2 runs won't worry Surrey too much as Folks collects.
Kent top of the table, 10 points. Sussex there on 9. Surrey will actually overtake Sussex at this stage. I don't think they'll quite have the run rate of Kent, but we'll see when everything settles down. Middlesex will be in the tranche below.
Slow ball from Topley, hammered down the ground from Anderson. Time this one. But, Burns has dropped himself back to long off. And once again, it is a single. So we've got to just do the maths. How many required off this last over?
I think it is 48.
48. So get your skates on, you've got to run hard.
Yeah.
Got to hope for a few no balls, free hits and all sorts. But, just try and have a little bit of fun. Ordinarily, you bat first. 171 for 5 going into the last over. Maybe they'll look back at the option to field first, Stephen Finn, and think, yeah, maybe it wasn't the right call, but, you know, good sides. If they're going to progress, you've got to learn to win chasing as well as setting. Short ball hammered by Anderson. Let's see who this is. Is it Atkinson back into the attack?
Like mist just flooding the ground. It's a dewy mist. Floodlights, full beam, pitch black sky above us. It's a lovely way to end things at Lords in this T20 blast.
Holman swings away onto the offside. Doesn't get much of it. Bit of a bottom edge. Out it goes for a single. Just think if there had been 28,000 people in watching this, they would have left probably with a bit of drink inside them, having had a thoroughly entertaining evening. One or two might have started to filter away from the ground now as this contest is to all intents and purposes over. They do tend to hang around. So Atkinson comes in again. He's bowling to Martin Anderson, and that's the first boundary we've seen for a while. Just helps it over the short fine leg fielder. Do himself no harm if he can hit a few boundaries. Finish with 20 or so. He's 12 at the moment.
Yeah, I think that was the first boundary since we saw that 6 off from Simpson many moons ago, it feels like now. Yeah, in the 16th over, and now on the 20th. And that's where it all dried up, last 5 overs.
There's a bit of a misfield out there as the batsmen nearly run into each other. It's just got a slightly anticlimactic feel to it at the moment. I think both these sides are quite happy for this game to be over now. What's happened here? Umpire Rob Bailey has his arm out, does he? Is he signalling? It's free hit, it's a no ball. Atkinson has overstepped. It's a free hit, and Middlesex could do with about 6 more of these. No ball free hits. And this won't please Alex Stewart and the Surrey management. They'll want to win this as well as they can. Atkinson to Anderson. Down the leg side. This is going to be a wide. Maybe this game isn't over, is he? Atkinson has 15 minutes or so of the yips, and it's game on.
Doing his part and keeping a contest alive. Like to see that. Very sporting of him.
Running in a bit slower now. This one is straighter and he's nailed down the ground by Anderson. Going to get a boundary, is he? No, good bit of fielding. Long on just knocks it to his mate at long off. Anderson got a good piece of that one. Atkinson trudges back to his mark. Once again, it's Anderson into the leg side. I think they'll just settle for the another misfield. So where has this been? So we're just commending Surrey on how well they fielded, perhaps getting a little bit dewy. And this time they come back for 3. And that can happen when the game's up. Fielders know that the job is done. Just taking their foot off the gas a little bit. But, useful runs for Anderson.
The required run rate is 192 runs and over.
Yeah, good luck. It's good that it works it out that quickly. I know you're looking at the board. You didn't just do that calculation. I know you're clever, but
Whiz kid. Right here. Shh.
Atkinson to Holman to finish things off, and Holman just knocks it into the leg side. The fielders, the batsmen jog through for a single. The fielders wander towards the batsman and are rather subdued, as all these games tend to be, with no crowd in. The handshakes, the elbows, the foot touches. Umpire Rob Bailey just kind of, just presents an elbow. And that is game, set and match to Surrey. 188 for 5. Middlesex finish. So comfortable in the end. When Eskenazi and Simpson were going, Izzy Middlesex were a chance, but that Moriarty picking up of Simpson, that was the turning point, and the Middlesex innings rather subsided from then on.
Yeah, I think so. And it's the first time in these home games that Middlesex have opted to bat second, to chase. We've seen the composure and the timing at the top of the innings in previous matches between the likes of Eskenazi and Holden. And you just felt with that imposing total, 218 posted by Surrey, Holden almost went out too hard on Eskenazi. He had confidence in himself, and he was the real standout innings of that Middlesex batting display. And as you said, going into that last over, 187 for 5. If you post that in the first innings, you think you're on to a winner.
Yeah, it would have been a decent first innings total, wouldn't it, from Middlesex? But yeah, opting to bowl first. And when you're chasing 219, you've got to go hard early. And I thought Middlesex did well to keep themselves in the game. But the more singles there were, the more dots there were, the rate just kept going up. And as well as Eskenazi played, he needed someone to go with him. And Simpson threatened that for a while. But when he went, that really was game, set and match. We should say as well that the man of the match, the Knight Frank man of the match, is Stevie Eskenazi, continuing his fine form, his full 50 of the campaign. So well played to Stevie Eskenazi. He did look a class apart with the bat tonight, is he?
Oh, absolutely. And you look at that standout innings at the top, 77 of 44 deliveries, and 6 sixes to add to that. What an explosive innings. Just to run you through that scorecard, Stevie Eskenazi 77, Max Holden only managed 14, just under a run a ball. Joe Cracknell there, 28 of 21. He certainly looks someone for the future, including a huge 6 off Jamie Overton that landed on the top of the scorer's box down at square leg. John Simpson, as long as he was in alongside Eskenazi, you felt as though they were in the chance. 31 off 18 balls. Jack Davis 8 off 8, and then in the end it was Martin Anderson 19 off 11. He ended not out, and Luke Holman 4 from his 4. But a comprehensive win by Surrey, and it means that Middlesex, having won both of the London derbies in 2019, Surrey have exacted revenge. I'm sorry to say, but you know what? It's not the end of things. It is round 7. I think the equation was, or at least the theory was, going into the previous match that Middlesex won against Hampshire. If they could win 4 of the last 5 matches in this Vitality Blast T20 competition, then they had a chance of making the knockout stages, the quarterfinals. And if they're going to do it, they're going to do it the hard way. because they go to Kent next. I think I'm right.
Yeah, they're going to Kent. They've got 3 away games, Middlesex now, and doing it the hard way indeed. But if you think about how these competitions have been won over the years, you think back to Essex Eagles winning the Blast last year, real slow start to their campaign, and they picked it up back half. I think every game was a cup final on the way in. They won their last 4 or 5 group matches. They got through to quarter-finals and finals day and went all the way. So it's not all doom and gloom from a Middlesex perspective. And I think what Stuart Law will be particularly proud of, or pleased with, is the emergence of 1 or 2 young players. I thought Joe Cracknell to come in and have 4 dot balls with Jamie Overton bowling 90 miles an hour. You know, you're a young man playing. You're making your debut in the Blast. I think he played for Middlesex against Leinster, which is technically a T20 game. But his first game in the Blast, to hit a guy that bowls 90 miles an hour over long on and then pick him up, that 6 that did the damage just under Old Father time, was remarkable hitting. And that little cameo will do him no harm whatsoever. And he just reminded me, when he played that 4 and 6, a little bit of Paul Sterling, who, of course, Middlesex have missed this year at the pyrotechnics that he provides at the top of the order. Well, if Joe Cracknell goes on to have a career half as good as Paul Sterling in white ball cricket, then he'll be going pretty well. But he just reminded me, short, stocky, packs a punch, and look forward to seeing his career develop certainly over the next year or 2.
Well, glimmers of hope certainly for Middlesex, a young side with plenty more to come, but tonight it was a heavy defeat to the arch rivals Surrey from across the river. But it has been a glorious summer here, a shortened summer. We've played first of all at Radlett with the red ball stuff, and finally all the white ball stuff over here in Lords. I think the only thing to say is that I'm sorry not to see a crowd. Next year I really do hope it returns. But I do hope that everyone has enjoyed the enhanced coverage. And Middlesex, as we said, next match, 3 away matches on the trot, but this is it for the home of cricket, for Middlesex at the home of cricket at least. And from me, Isabel Westbury and Dave Fulton to my right, good night, thank you very much, and join us at Canterbury on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll be there at Canterbury. You can check out the Kent stream for that one, and see if Middlesex can bounce back in style. But thanks for watching, and we look forward to welcoming you back at headquarters, hopefully in 2021.